Chapter 351. Are you planning to rob us? 5. After returning to Windless City, Quill descended in their yard. Lung Ruoxua and Freak jumped off Quill's back and entered the bracelet. Qingju, wake Grandpa and the others up. Lung Ruoxua ordered directly into the void. Okay, big sister, Qingju answered. A few minutes later, Lung Qingtian and the others emerged from their residences with smiles on their faces. Grandpa, looks like you gained a lot, Lung Ruoxua said in realization. Haha, swear Grandpa can advance now. Lung Qingtian laughed happily. Me too, Lin Liang said. Me too, Old Man said, unwilling to be outdone. Lass, I can also advance to spiritual deity, Old Zhao said happily. Cultivating in the space for a month was equivalent to several years outside. What a great harvest. Ruoxua, we can as well, Feng Jing and the Feng family's first elder said at the same time. That's great. Go outside and advance together. Lung Ruoxua said happily. These old men were the strongest among the group apart from the beasts. Their advancement was absolutely like adding wings to a tiger for her. Moreover, she believed that it wouldn't be long before her elder brother, Big Brother Feng, and the others advanced. Okay. The old men nodded together. Lung Ruoxua brought Freak and them out of the bracelet. Grandpa, we will go to Carefree City to participate in the competition the day after tomorrow, Lung Ruoxua said to Lung Qingtian and the others after getting out of the bracelet. So soon. Lung Qingtian was a little surprised. They had just emerged from seclusion. Yes, we saw Lan Ming just now, Lung Ruoxua explained. Lass, where are we going to advance? Old Zhao couldn't help asking. You'll know when we get there. Come on up, Lung Ruoxua said as she sat on Quill's back. Quill, go back to where we were just now, Lung Ruoxua ordered after everyone sat down. Yes, master. Quill flapped his enormous wings, flew into the sky, and gradually disappeared into the distance. An hour later, they arrived at their destination. Grandpa, advance here, Lung Ruoxua said. Okay. Lung Qingtian jumped off Quill's back, found a place to sit cross-legged, and quietly waited for the heaven and earth laws to descend. After a while, heaven and earth laws arrived as expected. 2 hours later, Lung Qingtian and the others all completed their advancement. Old Zhao, Feng Jing, first elder, when do you intend to convert your spiritual power? Lung Ruoxua asked the three of them. Will there be enough time if I convert now? Old Zhao asked worriedly. Of course, he wanted to become a mystic as soon as possible, but they were leaving the day after tomorrow, and he was afraid that there wouldn't be enough time. There should be time. Why don't we go to the Mystic Association and ask Lan Ming? Lung Ruoxua suggested. All right, let's go quickly then, Old Zhao urged. He couldn't wait anymore. After discussing, Quill carried everyone back to Windless City. They didn't go to their residence when they arrived at Windless City, and instead went straight to the Mystic Association. After seeing them, the receptionist of the Mystic Association let them through to the second floor. Lung Ruoxua knocked on the door of Lan Ming's president's office and led the old men in. Why are you here again so quickly? You've all advanced. Lan Ming's original bewilderment immediately turned to joy after seeing that they had all advanced to elementary mystic. Yes, we've all advanced. We're here to convert their spiritual power. Lung Ruoxua pointed at Old Zhao and the other two. Now, they won't be as abnormal as you and need a few days to advance, right? Lan Ming said worriedly. If that was the case, their journey would be delayed. Hee President Lan, don't worry. The most perverted people in our group have converted. We're normal. Old Zhao comforted with a smile. Oh, in that case, I'll bring you to the conversion room. I don't have to repeat the rules, right? Lan Ming asked. These three people were also present when he told Lung Ruoxua and the others about the precautions for converting spiritual power. There's no need. We know, Old Zhao said. Then let's go. Lan Ming stood up and led them to the conversion room from last time. After they arrived in the conversion room, the three of them found a small room and entered without needing Lan Ming to say anything. They seem to be in a hurry, Lan Ming said speechlessly as he found a chair to sit down. He finally realized that no one with this little girl was normal. Lung Ruoxua also sat down and teased. They're afraid of wasting your time, President. TCH, as if I would believe you. Lan Ming said very honestly with a pout. President, how can a handsome man like you pout? Lung Ruoxue said in disapproval. So what? Can't a handsome man pout and fart? Lan Ming said in objection. Of course not. That would affect your image. Lung Ruoxue teased with a light smile. Doesn't he fart or pout? Lan Ming pointed at Freak. If Schwer says no, it means no, Freak echoed without any opinion. He was definitely a good man who listened to his wife. Why are you so obedient? Lan Ming was speechless. He had lived for decades, but he had never seen such an obedient man. Yes, of course. Who else should I listen to if not my wife? Freak said nonchalantly. Haha, President Lan, you can't sow discord between us, Lung Ruoxue said very proudly. She hugged Freak's neck, pulled his head down and kissed him heavily on the lips. Schwer. Freak was excited and looked at Lung Ruoxue with eyes full of hearts. Ah. Schwer actually kissed me in front of so many people. This is great, hee. This time, my status is even more unshakable. Lass, there are a lot of people here. Lan Ming reminded. Chapter 352. Are you planning to rob us? 6. You're calling me a lass? Don't tell me you're an undying old man. Lung Ruoxue guessed, her watery eyes looking back and forth on Lan Ming's body. I'm not that old, okay? Lan Ming was speechless. Although he was a little bit older, he was still far from becoming an old man. The president of the Mystic Association headquarters was the real undying old man. I think you must be more than 80 years old, right? Lung Ruoxue murmured with a frown. Damn lass, I'm not that old. Lan Ming fell to the ground with a plop after hearing what Lung Ruoxue said. After getting up, he glared at Lung Ruoxue with all his might. Ooh, I'm only in my 30s, and I'm definitely considered a peerless young man in this world. But in Lung Ruoxue's mouth, I actually became an old man in his 80s. Ooh, what's with this girl's eyes? Do I look that old? Oh, then you must be at least 50. Lung Ruoxue continued guessing. Stop. Stop guessing. I'm scared of you. I'm only 35 this year, Lan Ming said gloomily while looking at Lung Qingtian and the others, who were secretly laughing. He was now very sure that this girl absolutely did it on purpose. Who deliberately bullying me? I'm sorry. I really can't tell, Lung Ruoxue said shyly, but she was laughing in her heart. Haha, Lan Ming is quite interesting. Then you know now, right? Lan Ming asked through gritted teeth. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded obediently and stopped teasing him. Lan Ming glared at Lung Ruoxue, then closed his eyes and began cultivating. Time passed, and 3 hours went by quickly, but there was still no movement from the people in the small room. 4 hours. 5 hours. Still nothing happened. Only after 6 hours did the first stream of heaven and earth laws begin to descend. Immediately after, 2 more streams descended one after another. An hour later, the 3 old men completed the conversion of their spiritual power and officially became mystics. Not bad. Consolidate your foundation on the way. You can also participate in the competition. Lan Ming's handsome face was full of satisfaction as he watched the 3 people walk out of the small room. Hee, I'm a mystic too, old Zhao said with a silly smile. Yes, you are all mystics now. This is your identity card. Drip a drop of blood on it for it to recognize you as its master. Lan Ming reminded. After the 3 of them completed the last procedures to become mystics, Lung Ruoxue stood up and led everyone to leave. After returning to the residence, Lung Ruoxue sent the 3 old men into the bracelet while she discussed the competition with her grandfather and the others. On the day of departure, Lan Ming arrived at Lung Ruoxue and the others' residence early in the morning. President Lan, you're so early. Lung Ruoxue, who was still not fully awake, said with some displeasure in the living room. It's getting late. Why did you get up so late? Lan Ming was a little speechless. How could these people sleep so well? I was discussing something, so I slept late, Lung Ruoxue explained. Oh, pack up quickly. We have to set off. We have to reach West Wind Town before dusk today. Otherwise, we will have to sleep outdoors tonight, Lan Ming urged. Oh, Lung Ruoxue replied and returned to her room. She tidied up simply and waited in the courtyard with Freak, Lung Qingtian, and the others walked out of their rooms not long later. President Lan, how are we going? Old Zhao asked Lan Ming. Taking my flying spirit beast. Lan Ming summoned his beast. Lan Ming's flying spirit beast was an enormous golden eagle. It was covered in golden feathers that were as sharp as blades, and its golden eyes were cold and sharp. As soon as the eagle appeared, it occupied the entire yard. Wow! What a big bird! Old Zhao sighed. This bird was even larger than the last quill. You're the bird, you damn old man. The golden eagle glanced at old Zhao with a displeased face. Old Zhao's face darkened. Boo-hoo! He was actually scolded by a bird that didn't admit to being a bird. But he was obviously a bird. Old Zhao was conflicted and depressed. Haha! You have personality. I like him. Old man was so happy seeing old Zhao deflated. He even praised the eagle. Alright, let's go. Lan Ming said while suppressing his smile. After Lung Ruoxue and the others sat on the back of the golden eagle, he flapped his giant wings, soared into the sky, and disappeared into the horizon with a strong gust. Several hours later. Lass, looks like we really have to sleep outdoors, Lan Ming said worriedly as he looked at the sky. It doesn't matter. Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Along the way, she had been comparing Quill with this golden eagle. But she still felt that her beast was better. Although this eagle was higher level than Quill, his feathers were not as soft as Quill's, and it was not comfortable lying on him. Lass, no woman likes to sleep outdoors, Lan Ming couldn't help saying. Yes, you can choose not to treat me as a woman, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. She was not one of those pampered young ladies. If she wanted to become a powerhouse, this bit of suffering was nothing. Lan Ming had lived for more than 30 years, and this was the first time he had seen a woman as carefree as Lung Ruoxue. But he was a little impressed by her. Compared to those young ladies from noble families who thought they were talented, were arrogant, looked down on others, and were unwilling to suffer a bit of hardship, Lung Ruoxue could be considered quite low-key and was very good at enduring hardship. So he believed that she would become a true powerhouse one day. Since we can't reach West Wind Town before dark, let's find a place to camp. Lung Ruoxue continued. That's the only way, Lan Ming said helplessly. Nighttime on the boundless heaven continent wasn't safe, so even powerhouses were unwilling to travel at night. Chapter 353. Are you planning to rob us? 7. Jin Hui, let's find a place to camp. Lan Ming said to his beast. Yes, master. Jin Hui's huge golden eyes looked into the distance, and then he chose a wide place to land. Lung Ruoxue and the others jumped down from Jin Hui's back. They set up the tents and started a fire to prepare dinner. What are you doing? We're in the wilderness now. Lan Ming was a little dumbfounded while watching Lung Ruoxue take out piles of food from her ring and place them on spread-out paper. Of course we're eating. We can't treat our stomachs badly in the wilderness, Lung Ruoxue said matter-of-factly. They just dealt with it casually at noon, so of course they had to have a good meal tonight. But there's no need to be so exaggerated. Can we finish all this food? Lan Ming was a little scared. In his opinion, all this food was enough for 20 people. You'll know when the time comes. Hurry up and help. Otherwise, there won't be any food later, Lung Ruoxue half-ordered. Oh, Lan Ming answered and hurriedly walked over to help. When it was time to eat, Lan Ming realized that these people actually had enormous appetites. But the food was really delicious. He thought he had eaten all sorts of delicacies, but he had never eaten such delicious grilled meat and grilled fish. Were his chef's culinary skills too poor? Or did he not eat anything really delicious? He was lost. So full. After dinner, everyone was too lazy to move. They simply lay down and stopped moving. Haha, so many fat sheep. Suddenly, arrogant laughter sounded in everyone's ears. Lan Ming was shocked. Oh no. Could something I was afraid of come? The reason the nights on the boundless heaven continent were not safe was all because of the most notorious bandits on the continent. Many of these bandits were powerful mystics. In addition, there were a lot of them. So many powerhouses would rather not travel at night than run into them. Lying in Freak's arms, Lung Ruoxue raised her eyes slightly and glanced at the bandits who appeared out of nowhere. There were at least several hundred bandits in front of her, and most of them were actually mystics. The leader was at least a great mystic, but because he hadn't released his mystic power, she couldn't see his level. Are you planning to rob us? Lung Ruoxua asked lightly. The leader of the bandits didn't say anything, but a small lackey rushed forward to speak. Isn't it obvious? You found the wrong people. We're very poor. Lung Ruoxua said pitifully. No money? Then we can sell that man. He can be exchanged for a few coins with his looks. As for you ugly monsters, forget it. Just kill them. Another person pointed at Lan Ming. Aha! Lung Ruoxua couldn't help laughing. Where did these bandits come from? They're so funny. They actually want to sell the president of a mystic association branch. Hee, I wonder where they want to sell Lan Ming? She was a little curious. Say that again. Lan Ming roared furiously when he heard that these bandits actually wanted to sell him. TCH, since you don't have money, we'll have to sell you for money, the bandit said recklessly. Lan Ming turned his head and said to Lung Ruoxua, Lass, I can't take it anymore. Oh, go on then. I'll cheer for you. Lung Ruoxua pretended to be stupid. Lass, are you so disloyal? Lan Ming asked pitifully as several black lines rolled down his forehead. What can I do? I'm weak, and my life is important. Old man, you can count on yourself. Lung Ruoxua smiled lightly, her eyes full of teasing. Lass, you can't do this. You can't deal with the leader, but you can deal with these small fries, Lan Ming reminded. The bandit leader was actually a mystic monarch. Alas, a mighty mystic monarch is actually a bandit. I really don't know what he's thinking. Lung Ruoxua looked up at the bandit leader. This leader was in his early 30s, tall, handsome, resolute, and had an extraordinary aura. Why would such a person be a bandit? She really couldn't understand. Lung Ruoxua glanced at Lan Ming lightly and said lightly, Just leave the small fries to the spirit beasts to deal with. I'm too full and don't want to move. Lass, you have to exercise even more after eating. Lan Ming advised. He couldn't tell whether Lung Ruoxua was joking or serious now. He was confused by this little girl. Old man, you can do it. You must have confidence in yourself, Lung Ruoxua encouraged. There are too many of them, Lan Ming said with a slight headache. The dense group of bandits seemed to have at least a few hundred people. Were they planning to take turns fighting? Don't be scared. At worst, I'll lend you old Zao. Lung Ruoxua said very kindly. Lass, even you can't do it, let alone an old man like me. Spare me. Old Zao said hurriedly. Boo-hoo. How could he be a match for these bandits? Wasn't this killing him? Old Zao, you have to grasp the opportunities that the little girl gives you. It's up to you whether we can live or not. Old man covered his mouth and smirked. Damn old man, scram to the side. Old Zao roared furiously. Haha. Lung Ruoxua couldn't help laughing again. Sometimes, watching these two old men bicker was quite interesting. Lass, I just entertained you. You can't let me throw my life away. Old Zao said pitifully, tears seeming to be shining in his eyes. Yes. Old Lan can deal with these bandits alone, Lung Ruoxua said confidently. She wanted to see Lan Ming's strength, so how could she help? That's good. Old Zao wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and was finally at ease. Lass, are you really so disloyal? Lan Ming asked pitifully with a bitter face. Alas, how can this girl be more cunning than a fox? Chapter 354. You are so ugly one. Yes. This young lady doesn't know what loyalty is, Lung Ruoxua said calmly, but she was already laughing in her heart. Hee, this time, Lan Ming has to attack. Hey, have you decided yet? A robber asked impatiently. Lung Ruoxua glanced at the robber and said lightly, What's the hurry? Haven't we been discussing it? She turned her head and said to Lan Ming, Old Lan, hurry up and attack. They're getting impatient from waiting. Remember, you can do it. Okay. Lan Ming braced himself. Boo. I can't let this little woman look down on me. Hey you, let's fight. Lan Ming pointed at the bandit leader. I'm not interested in you, the bandit leader said coolly, not even looking at Lan Ming. Haha. Lung Ruoxua couldn't resist laughing again. This bandit leader really has character. The The bandit leader looked at Lung Ruoxue and said with slight displeasure, "Is it very funny?" "Isn't it funny?" Lung Ruoxue asked. "It's not funny at all," the bandit leader said very seriously. Lung Ruoxue looked up and down at the bandit leader, and finally gave a very neutral evaluation. "You have no sense of humor." "Yes, I know." The bandit leader nodded in agreement. "Which one of you wants to fight me? Aren't you going to sell me? If you defeat me, I'll let you sell me," roared Lan Ming, who was completely ignored and couldn't tolerate it anymore. "Old Lan, you have to calm down," Lung Ruoxue advised with several black lines hanging on her forehead. Alas! It seems Old Lan is really mad. "I can't calm down," Lan Ming said irritably. "Ooh. It was one thing to be bullied by a little girl, but these blind bandits actually dared to bully him. They would really think he was a weakling if he didn't show his might." After speaking, Lan Ming directly launched an attack at the group of bandits. I'll attack first since you won't." Immediately, light blue water attribute mystic power danced in the air and entangled the group of bandits. After a while, a fifth of the bandits died. But the bandit leader only watched from the side without any intention of making a move. "Hey, if you don't do anything, all your subordinates will die," Lung Ruoxue reminded kindly. This bandit leader was really incomprehensible. He actually ignored the deaths and injuries of his subordinates, and his fierce eyes only stared at her fiercely. It was really strange. She was so ugly now, so what was there to look at? Could it be that he had never seen such an ugly woman? "They aren't my subordinates," the bandit leader said nonchalantly. 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruoxue's forehead. "What is this? Those bandits obviously respect him, but this big bandit actually doesn't admit that these small fries are his subordinates. It's really too strange." The bandit leader saw through Lung Ruoxue's thoughts and explained, "We are just cooperating." "Oh, then why are you looking at me? Don't tell me you're dazzled by my beauty?" Lung Ruoxue teased. "You're too ugly. I've never seen such an ugly woman in my life," the bandit leader said honestly. "Thank you for the compliment," Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. "You're welcome. Let's spar. If you win, it'll be yours from now on," the bandit leader suggested very seriously. Hearing this, Lung Ruoxue was at a loss for words. "What do you mean you'll be mine from now on? Please don't make it sound so ambiguous. I have a jealous lover by my side." Sure enough, Freak flew into a rage before Lung Ruoxue could say anything. "Damn it. Who do you think you are? Schwer is mine." Freak roared furiously. The bandit leader looked at Freak and then said very seriously, "Yes, you are also ugly. You two are a very good match." Upon hearing this, Freak was at a loss for what to do. It seemed that he didn't intend to snatch Schwer from him. "How is it? Let's spar," the bandit leader asked again. Lung Ruoxue glanced at him and said with slight displeasure, "Your strength is above mine. Aren't you bullying me by sparring with me?" "We're not competing in mystic power," the bandit leader said. Then what should we compete on?" Lung Ruoxue asked doubtfully. "I want to compete in alchemy with you." The bandit leader said something shocking. Alchemy? You found the wrong person," Lung Ruoxue said in surprise, but she couldn't help thinking, "How does this guy know that I'm an alchemist? I believe my senses. You must have taken an appearance-changing pill," the bandit leader said with certainty. He felt very dense fire attribute mystic power on Lung Ruoxue's body, and coupled with her appearance-changing pill, he guessed that the woman in front of him was an alchemist. "Are you an alchemist?" Lung Ruoxue asked calmly. This man had to be talented in alchemy since he could tell that she had taken an appearance-changing pill. "Yes." The bandit leader nodded. "So are you competing with me?" the bandit leader urged. "Okay. But if you lose, you have to be my subordinate and always be loyal to me," Lung Ruoxue said. "No problem as long as you can defeat me." The bandit leader nodded. "Well, compete after Old Lan takes care of the small fries." Lung Ruoxue looked at Lan Ming. "Okay," the bandit leader replied and stood to the side to watch the battle. "Go help Old Lan." Lung Ruoxue let Charm, Darling, Dazzle, and the other beasts out after seeing that Lan Ming was so busy. Well, if she didn't help soon, Old Lan would be exhausted. "Lass, at least you have some conscience," Lan Ming shouted at Lung Ruoxue when he saw the beasts that suddenly joined in the fight. I didn't do it to help you. I did it to give my beasts a chance to train, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Chapter 355. You are so ugly too. Lass, will it kill you to let me be happy? Lan Ming complained. I'll be happy if you're not happy, Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Alas, you ungrateful damn girl. Why don't you just anger me to death? Lan Ming said gloomily. That won't do. You still owe me money, Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Lan Ming really wanted to vomit blood. What does she mean by I still owe her money? That's obviously a remuneration, okay? How did it become money I owe her? Ooh. Women and villains are really the hardest to raise. Old Lan, don't be lazy. Hurry up and destroy these bandits. I have serious business, Lung Ruoxue urged. Damn girl, I'm so tired. Which eye of yours saw me slacking off? Lan Ming roared. Not far away, Jin Hui, who was fighting dozens of bandits, looked at his master with incomparable pity. Alas, poor master. You have never won a quarrel against that little demon. Why haven't you learned your lesson? Swear, are we really not going to help? Lung Qingtian asked softly. He was a little embarrassed seeing President Lan fighting 100 people alone. Grandpa, don't worry. Old Lan can handle it. We have to have confidence in him. Lung Ruoxue gave her grandfather a reassuring look and comforted him. That's right. Don't we have a ready-made goon? Why would we need to do anything? Old Zhao said matter-of-factly. Poor Lan Ming had already been treated as a goon. Haha, Grandpa, calm down. Lung Ruoxue smiled gently. Old Zhao's words really matched her thoughts. Alas. All right then. Lung Qingtian looked at Lan Ming sympathetically. Alas. President Lan, it's not that I don't want to help. You're really too strong. As the saying goes, the capable work harder. So sorry to trouble you. The mouth of the bandit leader, who was standing not far away, kept twitching as he thought. Who are these people? He was starting to doubt his judgment. Did I find the wrong person? About half an hour later, when the last ray of mystic power disappeared in front of everyone, all the bandits were eliminated. Lass, what should we do with this leader? Lan Ming looked at the bandit leader. He can't be killed. He's my future subordinate, Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Lan Ming was stunned. Did something happen that he didn't know? His mind was on the battle just now, so he didn't notice the situation here. He wants to compete in alchemy with me. He will become my subordinate if he loses, Lung Ruoxue explained. Lass, are you also an alchemist? Why didn't you tell me? Lan Ming was surprised. This girl's potential as a mystic was already so shocking. If she was also an alchemist, then he simply couldn't imagine her future. Do I have to tell everyone I meet that I'm an alchemist? Moreover, you didn't ask me. Lung Ruoxue said innocently. I was wrong. I shouldn't have argued with you about this, Lan Ming said a little gloomily, but he couldn't help grumbling in his head. Do I have to ask everyone I see if they're an alchemist? You are a good boy for recognizing your mistake and correcting it, Lung Ruoxue praised. Thank you, Lan Ming said with a bitter face. He glared at Jin Hui, who was hiding at the side and laughing secretly. Boo-hoo, even my beast is laughing at me. Can we start the competition now? The bandit leader asked. Let's begin. Lung Ruoxue nodded, and took out a small pill furnace from the bracelet. Wow. Lass, your pill furnace is really too. Old Zhao didn't know how to describe this pill furnace. As an artificer, he knew very well how high the quality of the pill furnace Lung Ruoxue took out was. Moreover, he guessed that it shouldn't be her best pill furnace. The bandit leader's eyes lit up. He looked at the palm-sized pill furnace and almost drooled. This pill furnace was definitely a dream for alchemists. Boo-hoo. He looked at the slightly crude pill furnace in his hand and felt a little inferior. If I win, you have to give me this pill furnace, the bandit leader said shamelessly after calming down. No problem. I'll give it to you even if you lose. I've always been generous to my subordinates, Lung Ruoxue said readily. Hey leader. You're not using a pill furnace, are you? Old Zhao stared at the pill furnace in the bandit leader's hand for a long time before he realized that it wasn't a pill furnace at all. It was obviously an or that had yet to melt completely. He had lived for so long. And this was the first time he had seen an alchemist use a raw or for alchemy. There's nothing I can do. I can only use this, the bandit leader said gloomily. Alas, he had to think of a way to replace this crude pill furnace. Use this. Lung Ruoxue couldn't bear to watch any longer, and handed the pill furnace to the bandit leader. This fellow couldn't escape from her palm anyway. Thank you. I am Zheng En, the bandit leader said gratefully. He hurriedly took the pill furnace Lung Ruoxue handed to him, and hugged it tightly in his arms as if he had obtained a treasure, afraid that it would be snatched away. After giving the pill furnace to Zheng En, Lung Ruoxue took out another pill furnace from the bracelet, and placed it in front of herself. Let's begin. Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Why do you have so many pill furnaces? Zheng En asked dumbfoundedly. He couldn't even get a decent pill furnace, but this woman actually took out 2 at once. Boo-hoo. Comparisons were odious. They were both alchemists, but why was the difference so big? My master left them for me. Are we going to compete or not? Lung Ruoxue urged. Compete. Let's begin. Zheng En hurriedly said. As the saying went, a gift blinds the eyes. He couldn't be cool anymore after taking Lung Ruoxue's pill furnace. Light the fire first. Lung Ruoxue said modestly. Men first. You light it first. Zheng En also gave in modestly. Brat, hurry up. What are you being so long-winded for? Old Zhao urged, not being able to take it anymore. Chapter 356. You are so ugly, 3. Oh, all right then. Zheng En nodded helplessly, and then lit the pill furnace. It's actually a divine flame. Old Zhao's eyes widened in jealousy as he looked at the red and purple flame. Boo. I want a divine flame too. Lung Ruoxue looked at her future subordinate with satisfaction. People who possessed a natal divine flame were considered rare. She didn't expect to meet one. Haha. Great. Lung Ruoxue saw that the other party had already lit the pill furnace, and a small flame lit on her fingertips. As soon as this small flame appeared, the people originally surrounding her immediately jumped away and looked at her with fear on their faces. Zheng En, who was taking out herbs from his ring, also looked at her in disbelief. What are you doing? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. What's with their gazes? Lass, do you want to grill us alive? Old Zhao was a little speechless. This girl's flame temperature actually rose again. Swear, we can't stand the temperature of your flame, Lung Qingtian explained. Lung Ruoxue was speechless. Is the temperature of this flame really that high? Why don't I feel it? Freak, is the temperature of this flame very high? Lung Ruoxue turned her head and asked Freak, the only one who didn't leave her side. It's all right, Freak said ingratiatingly. His words attracted several disdainful gazes. You're the best, Lung Ruoxue praised while caressing Freak's head like she was petting a puppy. Yes, of course. Freak was so proud. He swear praised me again. What kind of flame is this? Zheng En couldn't help asking when he returned to his senses. This flame could actually make his natal divine flame feel fear. How was this possible? This was too unbelievable. His flame was a rare divine flame. It's considered a divine flame, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. In fact, she didn't know what her current flame was. In short, the pills or equipment refined by her current flame were definitely better quality than before. Zheng En was speechless. What do you mean by that? Are we still going to compete? Let's begin quickly. Lung Ruoxue urged. She was a little sleepy and wanted to sleep. What's there to compete about now? I admit defeat, Zheng En said helplessly. The level of this woman's flame was higher than his and completely suppressed his flame. So even if he competed, he would definitely lose. What was there to compete about now? Brat, at least you know your place. Fighting with this girl is just courting death. Old Zhao patted Zheng En's shoulder. Yes, that's right. Her flame suppressed my flame. I absolutely can't exert my best strength. Zheng En nodded in agreement. Can my flame suppress your flame? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. She had never competed with anyone else other than during the academy competition, so she didn't know that her flame could actually suppress other flames. Of course. I can feel fear from my natal flame. Zheng En nodded. But my flame didn't seem to suppress the other flames during the academy competition? Lung Ruoxua asked doubtfully and turned to old Zhao. Lass, don't look at me. You know your own flame best. Old Zhao said hurriedly. Divine flames might not be able to suppress other flames too much, but this girl's flame was probably not a divine flame anymore. So it was normal for it to suppress other flames. Is it because of evolution? Lung Ruoxua pondered. Immediately after, she seemed to feel the emotions transmitted by her natal flame. It seemed to be saying that she was right. Lass, you should try to compete less with others in the future. Old Zhao continued. Alas! Anyone who dared to compete with this girl was courting death. Okay, I'll handle the competitions in your place from now on. Zheng En nodded vigorously. Then Zheng En suddenly knelt on one knee and swore very seriously. I, Zheng En, am willing to acknowledge. Zheng En glanced at Lung Ruoxua depressed. He actually forgot to ask for this ugly woman's name. Boo. Lung Ruoxua. Lung Ruoxua said. Oh, I, Zheng En, am willing to acknowledge Lung Ruoxua as my master. I will always be loyal and will never betray her. Zheng En swore to the heavens. Then the contract array descended, and the contract was formally established. Lung Ruoxua felt the mental connection between her and Zheng En, and nodded with satisfaction. Oh. This Zheng En is quite tactful. He knows to establish a contract to show his loyalty. But what she didn't expect even more was that Zheng En was actually a mystic monarch. Zheng En, where is your bandit lair? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. Miss, it's not far from here. Zheng En answered respectfully as 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down his forehead. Alas! He knew what his master wanted to do even without guessing. Bring us there. Lung Ruoxua said calmly. Since they wanted to rob them, they had to be prepared to be robbed. Anyway, all the bandits were dead, and the bandit leader had become her subordinate. The wealth they had painstakingly robbed for so many years shouldn't be left for others to take advantage of, so she would keep it for them. Yes, miss, Zheng En said. Lung Ruoxua sent the beasts into the bracelet, and everyone packed their things simply. Then Zheng En led the way to the bandit lair. About 20 minutes later, Zheng En led Lung Ruoxua and the others to a residential house. Zheng En, we didn't come to the wrong place, did we? Lung Ruoxua was speechless as she looked at the tall and grand mansion in front of her. Why were bandits living so well? No wonder even mystics went to be bandits. Miss, this is the right place, Zheng En said with certainty. He also knew that this place was not very convincing, but this was really the bandit lair. Let's go in and take a look. Lung Ruoxua pushed open the door and walked straight in. Chapter 357. You are so ugly for. After entering, Lung Ruoxua and the others were even more astonished because just the yard was luxurious and spacious enough to make people dumbfounded. Moreover, there were many rooms in the yard. From the appearance alone, the dazzling aura was absolutely comparable to the main hall of an imperial palace. No wonder even mystics are bandits. Old Zhao said with a sense of inferiority. Boo-hoo. He had never lived in such a good house in all his life. Yes, I want to be a bandit too. Lung Ruoxua nodded in agreement. No matter how noble a mystic's status was, they probably wouldn't be able to earn as quickly as bandits. This was a no-brainer business. After hearing what Lung Ruoxua said, Lan Ming was at a loss for words. Aren't you doing what bandits do now? Miss, it's not easy being a bandit now either. Zheng En complained with a bitter face. Why? Lung Ruoxua asked in puzzlement. As a bandit, you have to be prepared to be killed at any time. Moreover, the first rule of being a bandit is that robbery is allowed but absolutely not killing. Otherwise, once you become the public enemy of the entire continent, everyone will kill you, Zheng En explained. Didn't those bandits say that they wanted to kill us just now? Lung Ruoxua said speechlessly. Actually, they were just scaring you. They wouldn't have really killed you. But there was really a possibility of selling him for some money. After all, they can't work for nothing. Zheng En pointed at Lan Ming. Unfortunately, the bandits kicked an iron plate this time, and were wiped out instead. Haha, those bandits have good taste. He can indeed sell for a good price. Lung Ruoxua smiled happily. But I'm curious. Where would they have sold old Lan? Lung Ruoxue asked. There are many places, such as to the daughters of noble families who like beauty, Zheng En said. Oh. Lung Ruoxue deliberately dragged it out, causing Lan Ming to roll his eyes. Miss, actually, I only had a cooperative relationship with those bandits, Zheng En continued. What kind of cooperation? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. They provided me with all sorts of herbs, and I had to strengthen their imposing manner, because I was the strongest among them. Zheng En said helplessly. Alas! He had no choice but to ally with those bandits for the sake of herbs. Those bandits were quite smart. They really knew how to use you to intimidate people, Lung Ruoxue praised. So what? They still died in your hands. Zheng En looked at Lan Ming. He knew that this man was very strong from the moment he saw him. Miss, all the treasures they robbed over the years are here. While speaking, Zheng En had already brought Lung Ruoxue and the others to an inconspicuous room. Open the door. Lung Ruoxue ordered. Okay. Zheng En opened the door with the key and led Lung Ruoxue and the others in. Lung Ruoxue and the others walked into the room and saw the casually piled treasures. They no longer wanted to say anything. Lass, I think we should just become bandits too. With our strength, we will definitely rob more than them. Old Zhao suggested with shining eyes. Old Zhao, this idea suits me very well. Lung Ruoxue teased, but her eyes turned to Lan Ming. Why are you looking at me? I won't stoop that low, Lan Ming said resolutely. Really? Oh, wait and see. Lung Ruoxue smiled deviously. Miss, do you really want to be a bandit? Zheng En said dumbfoundedly. Was he destined to be unable to get rid of his identity as a bandit for the rest of his life? Ooh. Lung Ruoxue gave Zheng En a knock on the head and said with a smile. Of course not. This young lady will only rob people who provoke me. Ha. Oh, that's good. Zheng En was relieved. He didn't want to be a bandit anymore. He had no choice in the past. Lung Ruoxue unceremoniously stored all the treasures in the room into the bracelet, and confidently claimed them. Lass, you're rich this time. This wealth is enough to match the entire wealth of a medium-sized family, Lan Ming said. This isn't enough either. Lung Ruoxue said gloomily with a frown. Ooh, there are too many family members. This isn't enough? How many people are there in your family? Lan Ming asked in disbelief. Too many, Lung Ruoxue said with a slight headache. Lan Ming was speechless. If this amount of wealth wasn't enough to support them, then there must be a lot of people in their family. Lung Ruoxue turned to Zheng En. Zheng En, let's stay here for the night and leave tomorrow. Okay, Mississippi. But where are we going? Zheng En asked curiously. To Carefree City, Lung Ruoxue said. Ah, Carefree City. Miss, can I not go? Zheng En said with a troubled expression. Why? Lung Ruoxue looked at Zheng En doubtfully, her watery eyes saying. Give me a reasonable explanation. I don't want to go to Carefree City, Zheng En stammered. Give me a reason. Lung Ruoxue half-ordered while glaring at Zheng En. Zheng En braced himself and said honestly, the Alchemist Association headquarters is also in Carefree City, so I don't want to go. Ooh. I wonder if Miss will chase me away after knowing about my past. Do you have any trouble with the Alchemy Association headquarters? Lung Ruoxue guessed, but her face was full of realization. Miss, actually, I'm an alchemist who was expelled from the Alchemist Association headquarters. I've already been disqualified from being an alchemist, so I had no way of obtaining medicinal herbs. And as a last resort, I transacted with those bandits, Zheng En explained with a pained expression. Ah, could you be that Zheng En? Lan Ming suddenly shouted. No wonder he found the name familiar. But it had been too long, so he couldn't remember it immediately. Yes, I am the Zheng En who was expelled from the Alchemist Association headquarters 15 years ago. Zheng En said coldly, his eyes full of hatred. Alas! It had been 15 years, but his heart still bled every time he thought about that matter. Chapter 358, Provocation 1. I don't care what kind of enmity you have with someone in the Alchemist Association headquarters, but you have to go to Carefree City. As for your hatred, you have to take revenge for yourself. Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Although she didn't ask him in detail about the cause and effect of the matter, She could guess what kind of treatment he had received. After all, such a matter was not strange no matter where it was. Miss, it's not that I don't want to take revenge. It's just that my enemy is very powerful now. I'm not his match, Zheng En said helplessly. Just because you don't have strength now doesn't mean you won't have it in the future. I didn't ask you to seek revenge now. What's the rush? Lung Ruoxue smiled lightly. Since Zheng En was already hers now, then of course she couldn't stand by and watch others bully her own people. Yes, I'm not in a hurry. I've already endured for so many years. Sooner or later, I will take revenge for being framed with my own hands. Zheng En said vigorously as if he was a different person. Brat Zheng, that's right. Don't worry. We will definitely help you if you want revenge. Old Zhao patted Zheng En's shoulder like they were good brothers. Yes, thank you. Zheng En felt warmth in his heart after hearing what old Zhao said. He had been alone for more than a decade, and it was impossible for him to truly befriend those bandits. So this was the first time he felt warmth in more than a decade. After seeing Zheng En regain his confidence, Lung Ruoxue said, Everyone rest early today. Let's continue going tomorrow morning. Okay, Lung Qingtian and the others answered and went to find rooms to rest. But Lan Ming didn't leave. Lung Ruoxue glanced at Lan Ming. President Lan, do you have something to say? Lass, what happened back then was very troublesome and complicated. I advise you not to get involved, Lan Ming said after some thought. Zheng En is now my subordinate. Do you think I won't be involved? Lung Ruoxue asked calmly. I think it's better to let Zheng En stay here for the time being. You can pick him up after the Mystic Association's competition is over, Lan Ming suggested. What he implied was that it was best not to let Zheng En go to Carefree City, lest he was recognized. There's no need. But if you're afraid of trouble, President Lan, we can part ways here. Lung Ruoxue's tone suddenly became a little cold. In your dreams. You want to get rid of me now that you have a new road to becoming rich, right? Dream on. Lan Minghe roared. Boo-hoo. His good intentions were actually treated as ill intent. He felt wronged. He had always thought that he was already friends with them, but this heartless little girl actually wanted to chase him away because of Zheng En, whom she had only known for a short while. Boo. So sad. When did I say I wanted to get rid of you? I was afraid you would find it troublesome. Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly as 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down her forehead. Why is this guy so unreasonable? If you're not afraid, why should I be? Lan Ming roared gloomily. Since you're not afraid, then go to sleep. We have to travel early tomorrow morning. Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Then she left with Freak, leaving Lan Ming sullen and alone. After staying in the bandit lair for the night, Lung Ruoxue and the others set off the next morning. 10 days later, Lung Ruoxue and the others arrived at Nightless City. This city is Nightless City. After passing through this city, we will reach Carefree City. Lan Ming explained outside the city gate while looking at the tall and grand city walls. After 10 days of traveling, they were almost at their destination. Nightless City? Do you mean that nighttime here is as lively as daytime? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. Yes, the nights here are also brightly lit and bustling, Lan Ming said. Is this city bigger than Windless City? Lung Ruoxue asked. About the same. They're both not too big, Lan Ming answered. Old Lan, do mystics have any other preferential treatments? Lung Ruoxue asked. During the few days of being with Lan Ming, she had learned that mystics weren't charged any fees for entering cities. If inns are full, mystics have priority to stay. If 2 groups of guests are both mystics, the higher level one is the most respected, Lan Ming said with a smile. Oh, Old Lan, let's enter the city. Let's find a place to rest and then continue tomorrow. Lung Ruoxue said after understanding the situation. Let's go. There's an inn owned by our Mystic Association in Nightless City. Mystics get a discount there, Lan Ming said. Why isn't it free? The Mystic Association really takes enough. It even collects money from its own people, Lung Ruoxue thought. The association has to earn money too. The entire Boundless Heaven continent has a population of billions. No matter how few mystics there are still hundreds of thousands. If everything was free, then the association wouldn't be able to support the mystics no matter how much money it has. But it's completely free for mystics at or above mystic sovereign, Lan Ming said with a light smile. Oh, Lung Ruoxua nodded understandingly. Then everyone walked into Nightless City. We're here. This is it. After walking for a while, Lan Ming pointed at a gilded signboard in midair. On the signboard were two large words, Mystic Association. Lung Ruoxua looked at the signboard of the inn in front of her. This Mystic Association is really lazy. It didn't even bother to name it, and just directly wrote the words Mystic Association on the signboard. Last, this place is easy to recognize, right? Lan Ming said proudly. Yes. Very easy to recognize. Lung Ruoxua braced herself and echoed. If this place wasn't easy to recognize, what else would be easy to recognize? Lung Ruoxua and the others walked into the inn of the Mystic Association with Lan Ming. President Lan, who are they? The innkeeper asked in puzzlement while looking at the people behind Lan Ming when they arrived at the front desk. They are the representatives of our association, Lan Ming explained lightly. Chapter 359 Provocation 2. No way. The innkeeper thought he had heard wrong. There were actually representatives from Windless City's Mystic Association participating in the competition. Moreover, how could there be such ugly mystics? It was too unbelievable. Do you think I would lie to you? Lan Ming glared at him angrily. These bastards who judge others by their appearance will suffer if they anger that little girl. He couldn't help gloating at the thought. No. Why would President Lan lie to me? The innkeeper hurriedly said. To be honest, he really didn't think very highly of the ugly mystics Lan Ming brought. Then quickly arrange rooms for us. Lan Ming said impatiently. These snobbish fellows will be taught a lesson sooner or later. President Lan, there are only 2 rooms left, the innkeeper said with a troubled expression. How is that possible? Shouldn't you reserve rooms for the major association branches? Lan Ming said angrily. The Mystic Inn of Nightless City would reserve rooms for the major association branches in every official competition of the Mystic Association. This was the usual practice. There were some at first, but President Zhou brought too many mystics. There weren't enough rooms reserved for them, so, the innkeeper stammered, his eyes a little evasive. So you gave our rooms to them? Lan Ming was angry. This is too much. President Lan, I didn't have a choice either. I can't afford to offend President Zhou. Moreover, it was President Zhou who said that no one from your branch would participate in the competition. That's why I gave him the rooms. The innkeeper hastily explained. The Mystic Association of Windless City had forfeited the previous competition, so he didn't expect them to send people this time. Do you mean that you can afford to offend me, but you can't afford to offend President Zhou? Lan Ming narrowed his eyes in displeasure. No, that's not what I mean. We can't afford to offend either of you. The innkeeper was so anxious that he was about to cry. Boo-hoo, could he pretend to faint? Old Lan, forget it. Why fuss over it with a servant? 2 rooms are enough, Lung Ruoxua said calmly. That's true. It's beneath my status to fuss over something with a servant. Lan Ming smiled elegantly. Bring us to our rooms quickly, Lung Ruoxua ordered. Yes, please follow me, the innkeeper said cautiously. Boo-hoo, why was this ugly woman's aura more terrifying than President Lan's? Sirs and madam, these are the 2 rooms. The innkeeper led Lung Ruoxua and the others to the 3rd floor and pointed at the 2 innermost rooms. Old Lan, we want to cultivate. You can have a room to yourself. Lung Ruoxua casually pushed open a door and walked in directly. Freak and the others followed closely behind. If there's nothing important, don't disturb us, Lan Ming said coldly to the innkeeper after seeing Lung Ruoxua and the others enter the room. Then he pushed open the door and entered his room. In Lung Ruoxua and the others' room. Miss, I want to enter the space, Zheng En said impatiently as soon as Lung Ruoxua entered the room before they could even size up the room. Brat Zheng, why are you in such a hurry? Old Zhao was a little speechless. If not for Lan Ming, this brat would probably have stayed inside and refused to come out. Let's go. Lung Ruoxua brought everyone into the bracelet with a thought. As soon as Zheng En entered the bracelet, he immediately ran to the medicinal fields. His eyes lit up as he looked at the precious herbs, and he was almost drooling. Don't drop your saliva on my herbs, the little black dog, who had been guarding the medicinal fields, warned. I want. Zheng En quickly promised and sat down beside the medicinal fields like the little black dog. Lung Ruoxua looked helplessly at the man and dog beside the medicinal fields and shook her head with a chuckle. Since the first time she brought Zheng En here, he hadn't wanted to go out. Moreover, as long as he stayed in the bracelet, she would definitely be able to find him in the medicinal fields. Alas! What a pill maniac! Zheng En's obsession with pills and herbs really made her blush with shame. Freak, let's rest early. Lung Ruoxua turned to Freak. Okay. Freak nodded and pulled Lung Ruoxua into the purple bamboo house. As for Lung Qingtian and the others, they had long returned to their houses to cultivate mystic skills. The next morning, Lung Ruoxua brought everyone out of the bracelet. Mississippi. Zheng En looked at Lung Ruoxua pitifully, his eyes full of pleading. Boo-hoo. There was a very precious herb that was about to mature today. Such an opportunity was rare to come by in 1,000 years. We should go. There will be more chances in the future. Lung Ruoxua coaxed helplessly as 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down her forehead. Alas! She really couldn't get used to being looked at by a tall, burly, and resolute man with such a pitiful gaze. Standing beside Lung Ruoxua, Freak rapped Zheng En on the head and roared with displeasure. You're not allowed to learn from me. Damn it. He actually wants to pretend to be pitiful like me. Not a chance. My Schwer won't pity other men. I didn't. Zheng En said aggrievedly with tears in his eyes. Boo. Miss Man is so fierce. Go out. Don't make Lan Ming wait anxiously. Lung Ruoxua suppressed her smile. Hee. Freak is cuter when he's pretending to be pitiful. Lung Ruoxua and the others exited the room, and happened to see Lan Ming pacing around in the corridor. Old Lan, what's wrong? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. Why was Lan Ming like an ant on a hot pan? Lass, you came out at the right time. I want to tell you about President Zhou. Lan Ming was about to say something when Lung Ruoxua interrupted him. Old Lan, I'm not interested in unimportant people. Lung Ruoxua said without much interest. Lass, listen to me. Lan Ming sighed helplessly. All right, tell me. Lung Ruoxua said nonchalantly. Chapter 360, Provocation 3. Lass, that President Zhou's full name is Zhou Kuan, and he is the president of Sunzhou City's Mystic Association. Sunzhou City is one of the 3 main cities of the Boundless Heaven continent, and its area is much larger than Carefree cities. Moreover, it is the main city of the Sun family. The Zhou family is Sunzhou City's second largest family, and the Zhou family has had a very close relationship with the Sun family for thousands of years. This Zhou Kuan is the first son of the Zhou family, and is extremely talented. His mother is also the eldest young lady of the Sun family, so Zhou Kun's status in the Sun family is also very high. Zhou Kuan is the beloved disciple of the vice president of the Mystic Association headquarters, and my master is the president. However, my master has been in seclusion for many years, so basically the vice president decides everything in the Mystic Association headquarters. He has always hoped that his beloved disciple could inherit the position of president of the Mystic Association headquarters, so he has been suppressing me. He was the one who arranged for me to be sent to the Mystic Association in Windless City, Lan Ming explained. Old Lan, you're from the Lan family, right? Isn't that vice president afraid of offending the Lan family by doing this? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. Alas, Lass, I'm from a branch family of the Lan family. Moreover, the Mystic Association has regulations that the direct descendants of the 3 great families are not allowed to hold important positions in the Mystic Association. Moreover, even if I'm from a branch family, becoming a president of the Mystic Association is equivalent to leaving the family, so the family naturally won't protect me. Lan Ming said helplessly. It seems like the Mystic Association has a lot of rules, Lung Ruoxua said in realization. This was probably a last resort to prevent the Mystic Association from being controlled by the 3 great families. However, she didn't think it was a good idea. Yes. Lan Ming nodded in agreement. Doesn't Zhou Kuan also have a close relationship with the Sun family? If he becomes the president, what's the difference between him and the Sun family being the president? Lung Ruoxua asked in puzzlement. In her opinion, This was simply exchanging soup for medicine. He isn't a true member of the Sun family after all. So if he becomes the president, he won't violate the rules of the Mystic Association. 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Lan Ming's forehead. Alas! Must this girl be so sharp? Even though this is something everyone knows, no one has dared to ask so directly. If I'm not mistaken, you didn't really break away from the Lan family, right? Lung Ruoxue said calmly. Rules were dead, but people were alive. People could find loopholes in rules and use them at any time. This had long been an unchanging fact. Yes, I have to do my duty for the Lan family, but the Lan family doesn't have any responsibilities to me, Lan Ming said helplessly. This was probably the sorrow of the descendants of aristocratic families. They would always be pawns of their families, and they even had to sacrifice their lives if necessary for the sake of their family's strength. Haven't you thought about changing your destiny? Lung Ruoxue asked calmly. That won't be easy. Lan Ming sighed. As long as you have the heart, there's nothing you can't do. Lung Ruoxue didn't agree at all with Lan Ming's slightly negative thoughts, because becoming stronger had always been her goal. She knew very well that only by becoming a powerhouse above everyone could she control her own destiny, so she had always been working in this direction. Lass, you really don't understand the power of a family. How could Lan Ming not want to break free from his family's control? But he couldn't do it at all at present. This girl is our family head. Her words are like an imperial edict to us. What else does she need to know? Old Zhao interrupted. That's true. Oh right, lass. We might be going on the road with Zhou Kuan and the others later, Lan Ming reminded. Why? Lung Ruoxue asked with some displeasure. She didn't want to go with that Zhou what's-his-name. I was notified this morning that the headquarters has already sent people to fetch us, so I guess we have to set off together. This was also the main reason why he told Lung Ruoxue about Zhou Kuan. On the way, he had already understood Lung Ruoxue's character of taking revenge for any enmity, so he was very afraid that she would have a conflict with Zhou Kuan. After all, she was definitely not Zhou Kuan's match now. Oh, don't worry. As long as he doesn't provoke me, I won't take the initiative to provoke him, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. But don't blame me if that fellow foolishly provokes me. That's good. Lan Ming was relieved after hearing Lung Ruoxue's promise, because he knew that she wasn't someone who liked to cause trouble. Old Lan, when will they send people? Lung Ruoxue asked. They should be here in an hour. It's enough for us to have breakfast in the dining hall. Lan Ming looked at the time. Then let's go, Lung Ruoxue said. Lung Ruoxue and the others arrived at the restaurant on the first floor, and deliberately found a window seat. But an annoying voice sounded in their ears just as they sat down. Yo, isn't this President Lan? I heard that people from your winless city's Mystic Association can finally participate in the competition this year? A frivolous voice said provocatively. But no one bothered with him. We haven't seen each other for so long, but I didn't hear anything about you becoming a mute, President Lan. What? Are these mystics you brought also mute? Zhou Kuan, who was standing by their table, endured his anger and continued provoking. He didn't believe that Lan Ming wouldn't get angry. No one will think you're a mute if you don't speak, Old Zhao said indifferently with his head lowered. How dare you? How dare you offend your superiors? Do you know who I am? Zhou Kuan roared furiously. No one had dared to speak to him like this before. This old man was dead for sure. Lung Ruoxue looked up with slight displeasure, and glanced indifferently at the man standing in front of their table. This greasy-looking asshole must be Zhou Kuan. Zhou Kuan was about 30 years old. He was considered handsome but a little too effeminate. There was a brutal aura between his eyebrows, and his strength should be on par with Lan Ming's. But this bearing, it was totally different from Lan Ming's. Chapter 361. Provocation 4. You didn't even tell us your family name. How would we know who you are? Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Ugly monsters, listen up. I am Zhou Kuan, the president of Sunzhou City's Mystic Association. Our Sunzhou City is one of the 3 main cities and isn't something a small windless city can compare with, Zhou Kuan said with a face full of pride, but he felt a little nauseous inside. Damn. Why are these people so ugly? Where did Lan Ming find them? So it's President Zhou. I've heard a lot about you. Lung Ruoxue said with a fake smile. You know me? Zhou Kuan asked in surprise. He didn't expect his name to spread to Windless City, that remote place Windless City. He was really proud. Of course. Everyone knows that President Zhou is the most promising person in the Mystic Association. How is it possible for me not to hear of your name? Lung Ruoxue said with an admiring smile. I have something to do, so we'll take my leave first. Zhou Kuan looked at the incomparably ugly woman in front of him who was actually looking at him with admiration. He was shocked. He even felt that he would vomit if he stayed any longer. Damn, it's really too disgusting. Lass, you scared him. Old Zhao teased with a smile as he watched Zhou Kuan run away from their table as though he was fleeing for his life. Hee, this girl is really too evil. Lass, you're amazing. Lan Ming looked at Lung Ruoxue with admiration and praise. Don't worship me. I'm a legend. Lung Ruoxue smiled mischievously. Swear you actually smiled at another man just now. Boo-hoo, just this once. There won't be a next time. Freak's jealousy rose once again as he pouted in dissatisfaction. Lung Ruoxue hugged Freak's neck and kissed him heavily on the lips without hesitation, coaxing him to smile again. At this moment, the innkeeper walked to their side and said carefully, President Lan, the people from headquarters have arrived. Let's go. Lan Ming said directly to Lung Ruoxue and the others without even looking at the innkeeper. Lung Ruoxue and the others nodded, then stood up and walked directly to the entrance. Outside the inn, 2 enormous flying spirit beasts landed on the street, and even blocked the traffic. I don't want to share a spirit beast with these ugly monsters. An unruly voice sounded somewhat ear-piercing on the street. Lung Ruoxue and the others heard this voice as soon as they exited the inn, and looked at the owner of the voice in unison. The owner of the voice was in her 20s, had a face as beautiful as peach blossoms, a sexy and enchanting figure, a tall figure, and an outstanding temperament. She was definitely a rare great beauty on the surface, but her character was not flattering. Lan Ming lowered his voice and said to Lung Ruoxue and the others, She is the little princess of the Sun family, Sun Meilin. So she's from the Sun family. No wonder. Lung Ruoxue said with a spurious smile, her eyes shining with several cold lights. Lass, you better not provoke her now. She's very favored in the Sun family, Lan Ming reminded with a frown. Old Lan, aren't you mistaken? Did I provoke her? Lung Ruoxue asked with ill intentions. In short, you should stay away from her now. Don't go head-on with her, Lan Ming said worriedly. Alas, this girl's vengeful nature sometimes gave people quite a headache. Old Lan, you like to compromise too much. I can't bear to be wronged, Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile, but the coldness in her eyes grew denser. Lan Ming sighed softly and said helplessly, Alas, there's nothing we can do. Being in a large family, we have to be able to tolerate things. Swear, should we go over? Freak asked as he gently hugged Lung Ruoxue's waist. Let's go. Lung Ruoxue nodded slightly. Lung Ruoxue and the others walked toward the 2 enormous spirit beasts. Ugly monsters, stay away from me. Sun Meilin's beautiful face was full of disgust. At least you know your place. Lung Ruoxue nodded in satisfaction. What do you mean by that? Sun Meilin, who was already sitting on the spirit beast's back, questioned furiously. Literally. Lung Ruoxue glanced at Sun Meilin with her watery eyes and smiled faintly. Don't you understand? What she means is that you know yourself well. You are too ugly to be seen. Freak explained very kindly. You 2 ugly monsters dare to say that I'm ugly. I'm the second most beautiful woman on the boundless heaven continent. Damn it. What sort of eyes do you have? Sun Meilin immediately lost her composure when she heard someone say that she was ugly. What she was most proud of was her appearance. But these 2 incomparably ugly monsters actually said that she was ugly. How could she bear it? Second most beautiful? You're not the most beautiful. What's there to be proud of? Besides, the ugliness I'm talking about is your heart, not your face, Lung Ruoxue said with slight mockery. She really didn't understand why there were beauty rankings everywhere she went. She hated such beauty rankings the most because, in her opinion, they were just rankings developed by some boring, stinky men to satisfy their personal desires. Any intelligent woman wouldn't care about these rankings. You. Damn it. Do you know what you're saying? I won't let you go. Sun Meilin roared in anger. Image. Image. Aren't you the second most beautiful woman? You have to take note of your image. Don't let others see your true appearance, or it will make people lose their appetite. Lung Ruoxue reminded with a naughty smile. Hearing this, Sun Meilin actually looked around. She was slightly relieved when she saw that there were few people on the street. Although this ugly monster is an eyesore, she has a point. I truly have to take care of my image. I'll deal with this ugly monster when I have the chance in the future. Now far away, Lan Ming heard what Lung Ruoxue said and broke out in a cold sweat. Alas! This girl really can't tolerate a grain of sand in her eyes. Old Lan, let's go. Lung Ruoxue naturally couldn't be bothered with Sun Meilin when she saw that she was silent. She got onto the back of the other spirit beast. Chapter 362. The mysterious man. One freak and the others climbed onto it as well, with Lan Ming being the last. President Lan, we're about to set off. A person sent by the Mystic Association headquarters on the spirit beast said respectfully. He had seen the short exchange just now, so he didn't dare to underestimate these ugly people at all. Alas! They weren't even afraid of the little princess of the Sun family, so of course they wouldn't take him seriously. Let's go. Lan Ming nodded lightly. After hearing this, the person from headquarters immediately piloted the spirit beast to flew up slowly. Lung Ruoxue half leaned on Freak while lying on the back of the enormous spirit beast. This spirit beast was a griffin, a flying spirit beast unique to the boundless heaven continent. Although Griffin's level wasn't high, and its flying speed wasn't the fastest, its advantage was that it was large enough, stable and comfortable. So it could be considered the most popular flying spirit beast on the boundless heaven continent. Old Lan, sitting on this griffin is so much more comfortable than sitting on your Jin Hui. Lung Ruoxue said with her eyes closed. But how can a griffin's speed compare to my Jin Hui? Lan Ming refused to be outdone. He didn't want his beast to be looked down upon by this little girl. Jin Hui's back is too hard. So what if he flies fast? Comfort is the most important. Lung Ruoxue said disapprovingly. Lass, you really don't know how lucky you are. My Jin Hui is very proud. Usually, no one is allowed to sit on his back except me. Lan Ming had an expression as if she had taken a huge advantage. Is that so? Lung Ruoxue said lightly. She narrowed her eyes and looked at the other griffin flying side by side with them. The people sitting on the griffin were all people brought by Zhou Kuan. But the little princess of the Sun family had a stern face, and she didn't utter a word no matter how Zhou Kuan spoke. Obviously, she was very angry just now. Hee. Lan Ming followed Lung Ruoxue's gaze and couldn't help saying worriedly, Lass, be careful from now on since you've provoked her. Old Lan, you're mistaken. I didn't provoke her, Lung Ruoxue corrected. She had never been a person who liked to cause trouble. If others didn't provoke her, she would never take the initiative to provoke them. Anyway, just be careful in the future. Lan Ming couldn't be bothered to argue with Lung Ruoxue. He knew that he couldn't win against her. Old Lan, I know my limits. You should worry more for yourself. Lung Ruoxue said understandingly. When Lan Ming arrived at the Mystic Association headquarters, his days would definitely not be good. Alas! He had an irresponsible master, who couldn't even protect his own disciple. I'm prepared. Lan Ming shrugged nonchalantly. That's great. Lung Ruoxue closed her eyes and took a nap. After flying for about 3 hours, they finally reached Carefree City, where the Mystic Association headquarters was. The Mystic Association headquarters and the Alchemist Association headquarters were both located in Carefree City. This city was only smaller than the 3 main cities. However, ordinary people were not allowed to enter Carefree City. The prerequisite to enter Carefree City was being a mystic or an alchemist. Of course, people from the other 2 major associations, the Artificer Association and the Beast Trainer Association, could also enter the city, but they had to have identification. The 2 enormous griffins flew directly into Carefree City and landed in front of the Mystic Association headquarters. President Lan, please wait here for a moment. Someone will bring you to your residence later. The person who brought them said respectfully. Okay, Lan Ming answered. Lung Ruoxue and the others jumped off the griffin's back and waited directly at the entrance of the Mystic Association. At this moment, an attendant walked out of the Mystic Association. After seeing the two groups of people, the attendant went directly to Zhou Kuan and his group, bowed, and said very respectfully, President Zhou, you're finally here. President Wu missed you 2 days ago. Come in with me quickly. Okay, please lead the way. Zhou Kuan said very gentlemanly. President Zhou, Miss Sun, this way please, the attendant said respectfully. He completely ignored Lung Ruoxue and the others and directly led Zhou Kun's group into the main entrance of the headquarters. When Zhou Kun and his group passed by Lan Ming and the others, they deliberately glanced at them provocatively before swaggering into the Mystic Association. Lung Ruoxue and the others were completely ignored. Damn these snobs. I've never been treated like this before. Old Zhao couldn't help cursing. Why bother with a dog? Lung Ruoxue said calmly without any anger on her face. Lass, aren't you angry? Old Zhao asked in disbelief. When did this girl's temper become so good? Lung Ruoxue looked at Lan Ming with incomparable sympathy and said lightly, It was expected. What's there to fuss about? I'm sorry. I'm too useless, Lan Ming said guiltily. Alas. He might be impressive in the eyes of outsiders, but it was the vice president's world at the headquarters. He had always been the one being suppressed. Now Lung Ruoxue and the others were also implicated by him. This isn't your fault. You don't have to blame yourself, Lung Ruoxue comforted. In her opinion, the Mystic Association headquarters had become what it was today because of Lan Ming's irresponsible master. He was the one who created an opportunity for the ambitious vice president to develop his faction. Hey, since no one cares about us, let's enter by ourselves. It's not a good idea to stand on the street, Lin Liang said. He didn't want to be treated as a clown for onlookers to watch. Okay, let's enter. Lan Ming took a deep breath and decided. Although this wasn't in line with the rules of the Mystic Association headquarters, he couldn't let Lung Ruoxue and the others stand outside forever. Lung Ruoxue and the others nodded. They pushed open the main door of the headquarters and walked in directly. Who dares to trespass into the Mystic Association headquarters? A loud shout sounded in everyone's ears. In the blink of an eye, Lung Ruoxue and the others were surrounded by a group of mystics. Chapter 363. The Mysterious Man 2. Lung Ruoxue looked at the powerful formation in front of her and sneered in her heart. It seemed like this vice president was planning to give them a demonstration of his authority. She really didn't believe that every mystic who entered the Mystic Association would receive such treatment. I am Lan Ming, Lan Ming said, suppressing his anger. Oh, so it's President Lan. President Lan, you should know the rules of our Mystic Association headquarters, right? The Mystic Association headquarters is not a place to be trespassed. You have to report first if there's anything. The slightly wretched-looking middle-aged man in the lead smiled smugly. Haha, the feeling of stepping on Lan Ming is really good. So what if he's the president's beloved disciple? The person in charge of headquarters now is President Wu. We've been here for a while. Don't tell me you didn't know? Lan Ming said coldly, his pitch-black eyes glaring fiercely at the middle-aged man. President Lan, headquarters is very busy. What does it matter if you wait a while longer? The middle-aged man said in objection. We came with Zhou Kuan. He can enter, but we have to wait. What's the meaning of this? Lan Ming questioned with a displeased face. President Zhou's residence has been arranged long ago, but President Lan, your group's residence needs to be arranged on the spot. Alas, you can't blame us. We didn't expect the Windless City branch would actually send people to participate this year. The middle-aged man said, shirking responsibility. Do you mean that the people from other branches don't need to wait outside when they arrive, only us from the Windless City? Lung Ruoxue's light voice sounded. Who are you? How can you interrupt when I'm talking to President Lan? The middle-aged man glared. You don't have to care who I am. You just have to answer yes or no. Lung Ruoxue said expressionlessly. She would never care about such a small character. She would just destroy him directly if he was really too annoying. It wasn't worth wasting her breath on him at all. Yes, the middle-aged man answered honestly. stunned by Lung Ruoxia's imposing manner. President Lan, did you hear that? Lung Ruoxia asked. Yes. Lan Ming nodded to show that he understood. Bring us to our residence. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Even though Lan Ming could bear with it, his anger was currently rising. He even released all the pressure of a mystic monarch. Has my temper been so good that these people have completely forgotten that I'm a mystic monarch? Ah. President Lan, don't be angry. I'll bring you there now. The middle-aged man said fearfully as cold sweat rolled down his forehead. Boo-hoo, didn't the vice president say that Lan Ming wouldn't do anything to them? He was only a great mystic. The pressure of a mystic monarch wasn't something he could withstand at all. Moreover, almost all the mystics present, except for Lung Ruoxia's group, felt incomparably immense pressure. President Lan, can you withdraw your pressure? I'll take you to your residence. The middle-aged man pleaded with some pain. Boo-hoo. He was just an errand boy. Why did he do this to him? Hurry up then. Lan Ming kicked the middle-aged man's butt fiercely and ordered. But he had no intention of withdrawing his pressure. Yes. Please follow me, the middle-aged man said carefully. Then he walked very obediently at the front and led the way, not daring to have any bad thoughts at all. After walking for a long time, the middle-aged man brought Lung Ruoxia and the others to a separate courtyard and said to Lan Ming, President Lan, this is your residence. It's very quiet here. No one will disturb you. Lung Ruoxia looked at the house covered in weeds that didn't look much better than ruins. She looked at the middle-aged man with a spurious smile. We are very satisfied with this place. For some reason, the middle-aged man didn't feel at ease after hearing what Lung Ruoxia said. Instead, he was even more afraid. There's really no other place available. Please make do with it. The middle-aged man wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and braced himself. I told you. We're very satisfied. Don't you understand human language? Lung Ruoxia smiled maliciously, her eyes flashing with a terrifying cold light. I understand. It's good that everyone is satisfied. Then the middle-aged man fled in fright and disappeared without a trace. Haha, little girl, your power is growing, old man said with a loud laugh. To deal with villains, we have to be even eviler. Giving in will only make them think that we're weak and easy to bully. It will also make them want a yard after taking an inch. Lung Ruoxia looked at old man while speaking, but her words were obviously directed at Lan Ming. Lass, you're right. I consider too many things, Lan Ming said helplessly. Alas! In fact, he was really envious that Lung Ruoxia could live as she pleased, and that the people around her doted on her very much. But such days were desired but not sought after for him. That's why I don't like those so-called aristocratic families, Lung Ruoxia said understandingly. Schwer, we have to tidy up this place properly. Otherwise, no one can stay here at all. Lung Qingtian said with a slight headache while looking at the courtyard that seemed to have been abandoned for a long time. At the same time, he couldn't help cursing in his head. The Mystic Association headquarters is really too much of a bully. He had lived for more than 70 years, but he had never received such treatment. Yes, Grandpa. Don't worry. I'll get the beasts to help. Lung Ruoxia comforted. Ruoxia, let's clean up quickly. Otherwise, we won't even be able to have lunch, Lin Liang said gloomily as he looked at the sun hanging high in the sky. Don't worry about that. The Mystic Association headquarters will provide food, Lan Ming comforted. Food from the Mystic Association headquarters? Forget it. The place we live in is already in this state. How can we still count on the food they provide us? It's good enough if they don't give us pig food, Old Zhao said without giving him any face. Lan Ming blushed with shame. Boo-hoo, he really didn't dare to guarantee anymore. Perhaps it would really be as Old Zhao said. Chapter 364. The Mysterious Man 3. President Lan, are you sure you can afford our remuneration? Lung Ruoxia suddenly looked at Lan Ming doubtfully. She really couldn't imagine that Lan Ming could be rich after seeing the inhumane treatment he was receiving. Damn girl, the one thing I have the most of is money, Lan Ming growled angrily. He admitted that he had always been suppressed by Wu Gong, but the assets of the Mystic Association headquarters were beyond Wu Gong's control. Even his master couldn't control the wealth of the headquarters because the headquarters' assets and the headquarters were managed separately. Moreover, the manager of the headquarters' assets had always been a mystery in the headquarters. Oh, then I'm relieved. Lung Ruoxue looked relieved. Hurry up and work. Lan Ming stared at Lung Ruoxue and urged. Okay, go and do your work quickly. I want to tour this place first, Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Tour after we finish, Lan Ming said irritably. Damn girl, will she feel uncomfortable if she doesn't anger me? I don't want to. Freak, let's go look around. Lung Ruoxue pulled Freak's arm. Okay. Freak wouldn't refuse any of Lung Ruoxue's requests. The two of them ignored Lan Ming, whose face was flushed with anger, and walked toward the rooms arm in arm. Freak, do you feel that something seems amiss here? Lung Ruoxue whispered doubtfully after entering the main room. Don't worry. There are no ghosts here. Freak hugged Schwer tightly and comforted her. Two ignorant kids, of course there are no ghosts here. Suddenly, a deep voice sounded in their ears. Who is it? Come out. Lung Ruoxue said coldly and looked around vigilantly. I'm out. A white shadow floated in front of Lung Ruoxue and Freak. The white shadow was actually a young man in his early 20s. He was as handsome as an immortal, and his temperament was noble and extraordinary like a king descending upon the world. His blue eyes, which were as deep as the sea, were currently looking at Lung Ruoxue and Freak with slight teasing. How did this happen? Lung Ruoxue looked at the strange white shadow and stretched out her hand curiously, but it went through the young man's body. Schwer, he should be considered an energy body, Freak explained as he looked at Lung Ruoxue, whose face was full of question marks. Energy body? Lung Ruoxue pondered doubtfully. Is there any difference between an energy body and the divine sense left behind by Master? She only knew that at her master's level, divine sense could materialize with energy. She had never heard of an energy body. Brat, you're quite knowledgeable. I am indeed an energy body, the young man praised, but his blue eyes had a hint of sadness. Lass, you will naturally know what an energy body is when your cultivation reaches a certain level. The young man explained with a smile in his eyes as he looked at Lung Ruoxue. Who are you? Why are you here? Lung Ruoxue asked directly, no longer thinking about energy bodies. This is my residence. It's natural for me to be here. The young man smiled. This is obviously the territory of the Mystic Association headquarters. Moreover, this place has been abandoned for a long time. Lung Ruoxue said with a face full of disbelief. Yes, you're right. No one knows that I'm staying here now except for you. The young man said good-naturedly. You still haven't said who you are? Lung Ruoxue said with an expression that said, don't even think about getting away with it. You can call me Empty. You will naturally know my identity in the future. The young man said after some thought. Pretending to be mysterious is a crime. Lung Ruoxue said with displeasure. This man was really too cunning and had no sincerity at all. The young man was speechless. Why is this little girl so unreasonable? Freak, let's ignore him and look elsewhere. Lung Ruoxue pulled Freak away. Don't tell anyone that you've seen me here. The young man quickly said before Lung Ruoxue and Freak stepped out of the room. Don't worry. We won't tell anyone. No one would believe us anyway. They might even treat us as mentally ill. Lung Ruoxue answered coldly without even turning her head. Freak, how do you know about energy bodies? Lung Ruoxue whispered curiously after walking out of the room. I saw it in a book, Freak answered. What book? Let me see it too. Lung Ruoxue asked with her hand stretched out in front of Freak. That book is long gone. Freak sighed helplessly. Freak, will that person hurt us? Lung Ruoxue knew that Freak was hiding a secret from her. But she wouldn't force him to talk, so she changed the topic directly. Probably not, Freak said with certainty. Even though that person, it would still be easy for him to hurt us with his current strength. Oh, that's good. Lung Ruoxue was relieved. In fact, she didn't care who that man was at all. She was mainly afraid that he would have designs on them. After all, the safety of her loved ones was the most important to her. Lung Ruoxue and Freak walked around the rooms and returned to the courtyard. You two lazy fellows, you're back only after we finished. Lan Ming was furious when he saw the two carefree people. Done so quickly? But it seems like there are still a lot of messy rooms. Lung Ruoxue said in surprise. Lan Ming rolled his eyes at Lung Ruoxue and said irritably, "We can't stay in so many rooms. Why should we clean them up?" "Oh, freak, let's go choose a room since they're done cleaning." Lung Ruoxue smiled lightly and turned to Freak. "Damn girl, you didn't do anything and still want to choose your room first?" Lan Ming glared and deliberately growled with displeasure. "Can't I?" Lung Ruoxue looked at everyone aggrievedly. Chapter 365. The Mysterious Man 4. Yes, lass. You're a girl. Of course you can choose first. Old Zao said cooperatively. Old Lan, you have to learn a little. Look at how gentlemanly old Zao is. Lung Ruoxue teased with satisfaction. Then she directly dragged Freak to choose a room. That damn girl has been spoiled by you. Lan Ming said, slightly depressed while looking at Lung Qingtian and the others with disappointment. Why can't I defeat a little girl? I'm such a failure. Schwerer is my granddaughter. Who should I spoil if not her? Lung Qingtian asked in puzzlement. But he was laughing in his heart. Hee, how can Lan Ming be Schwerer's match? President Lan, calm down. Let's quickly prepare lunch. Lin Liang said very kindly. He was already hungry. Okay. Lan Ming nodded resignedly and began preparing lunch with everyone. An hour later. Freak, wasn't I right? Lunch is ready. Lung Ruoxue said happily to Freak beside her after smelling the fragrance. Yes, we came out at the right time, Freak said with satisfaction. Damn it. You two sure know how to choose the time. Lan Ming gritted his teeth and glared at the two of them. This is called it's best to come at the right time. Lung Ruoxue said with a smug face. Schwer, quickly sit down and eat. Lung Qingtian urged. He knew very well why Schwer kept angering Lan Ming. Alas! Schwer had put in so much effort. Hopefully, Lan Ming would be able to understand. Okay. Lung Ruoxue pulled Freak over to sit down. She had just picked up a piece of grilled meat and was about to eat when she heard a soft voice in her ear. I want to eat too. Do you want to scare me to death? Lung Ruoxue was a little speechless as she looked at the man who suddenly appeared in displeasure. She grumbled in her head. You even told us not to tell others that you're here. Then why are you swaying around like this? They can't see or hear me, Empty said proudly, his deep blue eyes full of teasing. But they can hear me. Lung Ruoxue thought. Schwer, who are you talking to? Lung Qingtian and the others were looking at Lung Ruoxue in bewilderment. I'm talking to Freak. Do you want to scare me to death? Lung Ruoxue explained somewhat guiltily and kept winking at Freak. Freak understood and hurriedly said, I didn't do it on purpose. He glanced at the white shadow standing beside them like a ghost. What's wrong with you two? Why are you acting weird? Old Zao felt that something was amiss. He scared me just now. Lung Ruoxue pushed the blame to Freak helplessly. Schwer, I didn't do it on purpose. Why do you still remember? Freak said aggrievedly, tears glittering in his black eyes. Boo. I'm taking the blame for someone else. Don't do it again. Lung Ruoxue looked at Freak, but didn't say anything more. Last, actually, you can send me a voice transmission. Empty reminded kindly. Why didn't you say so earlier? Lung Ruoxue sent a voice transmission furiously. In her opinion, this Empty was doing it on purpose. He didn't tell her earlier that she could send a voice transmission before he scared her. Empty shrugged innocently and said aggrievedly, You didn't ask. Lung Ruoxue was really helpless. It even became my fault. Alas! Since he could send voice transmissions, why did he suddenly open his mouth to speak? My response was just a conditioned reflex. I want to eat too. Empty looked at the food and drooled. Boo. It's been a long time since I've eaten anything. Can you eat? Lung Ruoxue looked at Empty with puzzlement. If he ate something, would he leak it out? Of course I can. But I haven't eaten for a long time. The food from the Mystic Association is becoming more and more difficult to swallow. Empty said, seemingly dissatisfied. Then he directly stretched out his hand to get the grilled meat. Lung Ruoxue hurriedly stopped Empty and sent a voice transmission. You can't eat now. Wait for us to finish first. Why? Empty asked in puzzlement. Either you show yourself and let everyone see you, or you wait for us to finish eating before eating. Lung Ruoxue said via voice transmission, giving this mysterious man two choices. I don't want others to see me now, Empty said awkwardly. Then wait for us to finish eating before you eat. Lung Ruoxue said without negotiation. She didn't want her grandfather and the others to be scared by this man who appeared out of nowhere. Alas. All right then. He looked at the food on the table reluctantly and floated away. After lunch, Lung Ruoxue returned to her room with Freak. Schwer, what did Empty say to you? Freak asked curiously after they sat on the bed. He wants to eat. I gave him two choices, Lung Ruoxue explained simply. Then she lay directly on the bed and half closed her eyes to rest. Oh. Schwer, you've wronged me today. Tell me, how are you going to make it up to me? Freak smiled evilly, his face full of anticipation. I want to take an afternoon nap. Hello, you first. Lung Ruoxue said with a yawn. Schwer, you already owe me a lot of compensation. Freak reminded her with a naughty smile. Yes. I'll pay you back slowly in the future. Lung Ruoxue nodded and promised. There was no need to worry about more debts. What compensation? How? A curious voice suddenly interrupted. Are you sure you're not a ghost? Lung Ruoxue looked at Empty doubtfully. Why does this guy always appear suddenly? No, I'm still alive. Empty said with certainty after taking a bite of a chicken leg. Can you not suddenly appear? Freak also had a slight headache. He was obviously an energy body, but he made himself look like a ghost. It was really worrying. Chapter 366. Please take care, I won't be seeing you out. 1. This is my room. Do I have to knock on the door to enter my own room? Empty asked back. It's ours now, so you have to knock before you enter, Freak said very seriously. Oh. Then Empty floated out, knocked on the door, and floated in again. I have a generation gap with him. You talk to him. I'm taking an afternoon nap. Lung Ruoxue sighed weakly and directly closed her eyes. Play by yourself. Don't disturb us. Freak lay down beside Lung Ruoxue and hugged her, ignoring the ghost. Oh. Empty looked at them and found a random seat to sit down. His imagination ran wild as he ate. After a long while. Are you awake? Empty stretched his head out in front of Lung Ruoxue. After waking up, Lung Ruoxue was in a daze for a moment when she saw the handsome face that suddenly appeared in front of her. She instinctively reached out her fist and directly punched, but it went through his body. Only then did she really wake up and remember this man's identity. Don't scare me so suddenly, okay? Lung Ruoxue roared angrily. I just wanted to say hi. Empty said aggrievedly. Boo. Why is this little girl so fierce? Your sudden appearance will scare people to death, Lung Ruoxue said weakly with 2 drops of cold sweat dripping down her forehead. She realized that she really couldn't communicate with this man, who didn't admit that he was a ghost but liked to behave like a ghost. The generation gap was probably too big. Oh, but are you so timid? Empty asked doubtfully. No. I just can't stand you appearing and disappearing like this, Lung Ruoxue said bluntly. Then I'll follow you from now on. Empty said as if he had made a major decision. You want to follow us? Lung Ruoxue was at a loss for words. Boo. This isn't what I meant. Yes. That way, you want to despise me and say that I'm like a ghost. Empty looked at Lung Ruoxue aggrievedly. Empty, you've misunderstood me. I don't want you to follow us. Lung Ruoxue tried her best to lower her voice. It was really inconvenient to have a ghost follow her. Alas. I knew it. You still despise me. Boo-hoo, tears welled up in his deep blue eyes. Are you going to cry? Lung Ruoxue's head began to hurt again. When did this fellow learn this move? I've been alone for thousands of years. Boo. There's no one to accompany me, no one to love me. I'm floating all alone in this world. Empty pretended to be pitiful with tears in his eyes. At this moment Freak opened his eyes and said, Schwer, let him follow us. Oh, all right then. Lung Ruoxue replied, but she looked at Freak doubtfully. It was really strange that he wasn't jealous. It was too unbelievable. Schwer, why are you looking at me like that? 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Freak's forehead. Alas! He knew what she was thinking just by looking at her appearance. But the reason he agreed to let Empty stay was that he felt that this person might be useful to Schwer in the future. Nothing, Lung Ruoxua quickly said awkwardly. Schwer, let's take a walk around Carefree City. Freak chuckled, not planning to expose her. Okay. Lung Ruoxua nodded. I'll accompany you and be your guide. Empty hurriedly said. Lung Ruoxua and Freak sat up from the bed, washed up simply, and greeted Lung Qingtian and the others. Then the 2 of them and the ghost went to explore Carefree City. Carefree City is really becoming more and more desolate now. Walking on the streets, Empty sent a voice transmission to the 2 of them with a trace of sadness on his incomparably handsome face. Is that so? Lung Ruoxua replied doubtfully. She had come to the boundless heaven continent for too short a time, and hadn't been to many cities, so she wasn't sure what the difference was between this so-called desolate city and the 3 main cities. But Carefree City should be the busiest city she has been to. The current Carefree City is completely different from the one thousands of years ago, Empty said. Thousands of years ago? Lung Ruoxua looked at Empty strangely. Is this guy actually an old fart? As you've thought, I have indeed lived for thousands of years, Empty explained calmly. Yes, you're indeed an old fart, Lung Ruoxua said in realization. Yes. I'm a half-dead old fart, Empty teased. Empty, where do you want to bring us? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. Empty had been leading the way since they left the Mystic Association headquarters. I want you to accompany me to meet an old friend. Empty explained lightly. Your old friend? Is he also an old fart? Lung Ruoxua couldn't help asking. Yes. But he's injured and has been sleeping, Empty said sadly. Don't tell me it's your beast? Lung Ruoxua guessed. Typically, only beasts like to heal by sleeping. How smart. You got it right. He's my pet beast and my most important partner, Empty said. Then where is he now? Lung Ruoxia's face was full of curiosity. He's right below. Empty brought Lung Ruoxua and Freak to the mountain behind the Mystic Association headquarters, and pointed at a mountain stream. This place seems to be very deep. Lung Ruoxua looked down the mountain stream, but she couldn't see what was happening below at all. Almost the entire mountain stream was shrouded in thick fog. Yes, the fog here is poisonous. Do you dare to go down with me? Empty asked with a faint smile while looking at the 2. Freak and Lung Ruoxua looked at each other and said in unison, Why wouldn't we? Then let's go. Empty used his mystic power to envelop the 2 of them, and brought them into the mountain stream. Chapter 367. Please take care, I won't be seeing you out too. It's so cold here. Even with Empty's mystic power protecting her, Lung Ruoxua still felt a bone-piercing chill. Don't be afraid. I'm here. Freak hugged Lung Ruoxua into his arms and comforted her. Lass, your strength is too low. I have to give you special training if there's a chance. Empty's deep blue eyes glanced at the 2 of them. Special training? Lung Ruoxua was a little speechless. This old fart actually wanted to give her special training. It seemed like this had always been her specialty. Yes, your strength is too low, Empty said very seriously with his arms crossed over his chest. My current strength is just enough for me to participate in the Mystic Association's competition. Lung Ruoxua explained lightly. She didn't think she needed special training, but she was very curious about how Empty would train her. With me around, you don't have to participate in the competition, Empty said confidently. No, I have to participate in the competition, Lung Ruoxua said resolutely. Why? Last, the president of the Mystic Association headquarters isn't as powerful as me. Empty reminded her. Of course it's for money. I'm poor. Lung Ruoxua said pragmatically. Just for this reason? Empty didn't know what to say. For thousands of years, he had never seen any mystic who wanted to participate in the competition for this reason. Why else? Lung Ruoxua asked in return. If it wasn't for money, I wouldn't care to participate in some lousy competition. In her opinion, the internal affairs of the Mystic Association were really too chaotic, and she couldn't be bothered to intervene in such a place. It should be for the sake of your future or status. No mystic would participate in the competition held by the Association for Money, Empty said helplessly and sighed lightly. Alas, this girl's way of thinking is really different. Those are other people. I'm doing it for money, Lung Ruoxue said proudly. Hee, my goal is so clear. Lass, are you really that short of money? Empty asked doubtfully. Of course. Also, can you not call me Lass? You might be an old fart, but you don't look much older than me. Calling me Lass makes me feel weird. Lung Ruoxue requested impatiently. Then what should I call you? Empty asked without blinking his clear blue eyes. You can call me Schwer or Ruoxue like Grandpa and the others, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. Empty rested his chin on his hand in thought and then said, All right, I'll call you Schwer from now on. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Schwer, we're at the bottom of the stream, Freak reminded. Come with me. Empty retracted his mystic power upon reaching their destination. The two of them followed Empty and arrived at the entrance of a cave. This is it. Empty pointed at the cave while producing various spells as he spoke. After a while, the door to the cave opened automatically. Lung Ruoxue and Freak walked into the cave with Empty. The interior of this cave was very spacious. Moreover, the stone walls of the cave were inlaid with blue water crystals that glittered with a gentle glow, making the water attribute spiritual energy in the cave very dense. After passing through a stone door, they finally arrived at an even larger stone room. In this stone room, there was only an incomparably huge cold jade bed. Lying on the bed was a giant beast. This beast was entirely ice blue, and his body was covered in thick scales. There was long fur between the scales, and he had a white jade-like horn on his head. He was very mighty and beautiful. But was this a Qilin? Master, that is an ice Qilin. Fengzhan's voice sounded in Lung Ruoxue's heart. Are you sure? How can there be a Qilin in this world? Lung Ruoxue's face was full of question marks. Master, I suspect that he was exiled to this world like me, Fengzhan guessed. Hearing this, Lung Ruoxue nodded slightly, and then turned her gaze to Empty and asked, Is this your beast? Yes, but he suffered very serious injuries, so he's been sleeping for thousands of years, Empty said sadly. Then how can we save him? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. It's not easy to wake him up. I've collected a lot of herbs over the past thousands of years. Unfortunately, I can't find an alchemist who can refine the pill I need, Empty said helplessly. What pill do you need? Lung Ruoxue asked with interest. Could there be no such alchemist in the entire Alchemist Association? Ice Mystic Pill, Empty said softly. His deep blue eyes were even gentler as he stared at the ice Qilin lying on the cold jade bed. Lung Ruoxue looked at Empty, whose gaze seemed to be looking at his beloved, and her mind couldn't help but begin to wander. Could it be that between this master and beast? Seeing Lung Ruoxue's expression, Empty said with a face full of black lines. Schwer, you're letting your imagination run wild again. It's not what you think. Oh, Lung Ruoxue was embarrassed. Was the expression on my face really that obvious? Moreover, damn Freak actually dared to snicker. Schwer, why did you pinch me? Freak looked at Lung Ruoxue aggrievedly. Boo. What did it have to do with me? Why am I the one always being blamed? Who asked you to snicker? Lung Ruoxue glared at him. I'm laughing because you look so cute. Freak explained. You can't laugh at me even if that's the case. Lung Ruoxue looked at Freak domineeringly. Yes, my dear wife, Freak answered obediently. Lung Ruoxue turned her head to Empty and asked, By the way, what level is the Ice Mystic Pill? The Ice Mystic Pill is a heaven-grade pill, but only alchemy supremacies with a divine flame can concoct it, Empty said helplessly. Alchemy supremacies were not difficult to find on the boundless heaven continent, but alchemy supremacies with a divine flame could only be chanced upon by luck. Divine flame, huh? Lung Ruoxue pondered. The level of her flame was definitely above divine flame, but she had yet to concoct a heaven-grade pill, nor had she gone to the Alchemist Association to test her alchemy level. So she wasn't sure if she could concoct the Ice Mystic Pill that Empty needed. Therefore, she was a little hesitant if she should tell Empty that she was also an alchemist. She was afraid that Empty would place all his hopes on her, but she wouldn't be able to help. Chapter 368. Please take care, I won't be seeing you out 3. Actually, I'm an alchemist with a divine flame. Lung Ruoxue hesitated but still said it to Empty. Really? Empty looked at Lung Ruoxue with a face full of surprise. After searching for so long, I finally found one? This is great. But don't be too happy too early. I don't know if I can concoct the ice mystic pill. Lung Ruoxue said honestly. It's okay as long as there's hope. Can you let me see your natal flame? Empty said hopefully. He wanted to confirm it. Okay. Lung Ruoxue stretched out a finger. A moment later, a small flame lit up on her fingertip. What a high temperature. Is this a divine flame? Confusion appeared on Empty's handsome face. A divine flame shouldn't be like this. But he was very sure that this girl's natal flame was definitely higher level than divine flame. With this thought, he couldn't help feeling happy. This is really great. Probably. Lung Ruoxue wasn't too sure. Schwer, what level of pill can you concoct now? Empty asked anxiously. Earth grade is fine, but I haven't concocted heaven grade before. Lung Ruoxue said. Well, why don't you try refining it? Anyway, the herbs I've collected over the years are enough for you to practice. Empty said very generously. Won't feel that it's a pity if it fails, Lung Ruoxue reminded. She had to get the unpleasantness out of the way so that she wouldn't be blamed later. No, I have a lot of herbs, Empty said nonchalantly. How could she not fail since it was practice? Therefore, he didn't care how many herbs he lost. He just wanted the result. Do you have the formula for the ice mystic pill? She had to look at the formula before refining the pill. Otherwise, she would fail if she didn't know the order of the herbs. Yes, here. Empty took out a slightly yellowed piece of paper and handed it to Lung Ruoxue. Give me the herbs. I'll try. Lung Ruoxue took the pill formula, looked at it carefully, and remembered the order of the herbs. Then she stretched out her hand and asked for the herbs. Here. Empty took out a storage ring from who knows where and handed it to Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue took the ring and sent her divine sense in to take a look. There were so many herbs. The herbs in the ring were like small mountains, pile after pile, so much so that it left her speechless. These herbs are enough for you to practice hundreds of times, right? Empty asked with a smile. These were the fruits from thousands of years of collection. He would definitely scare this girl. Yes. If I succeed in refining it, the remaining herbs will be my reward. Lung Ruoxue said unceremoniously. No problem. I just want one ice mystic pill. Empty's requirement wasn't high. The reason he gathered so many herbs was to save his beast, so one ice mystic pill was enough for him. Okay, I'll try my best to satisfy your request. Lung Ruoxue nodded. She sat on the ground and took out a pill furnace to begin concocting pills. After lighting the fire and preheating, Lung Ruoxue threw the herbs needed to concoct the ice mystic pill into the furnace one by one. After the herbs melted, she began to purify. The white ball-sized medicinal liquid became the size of a baby's fist after purification. Then it was time to condense the pills. This was also the most important step in whether the ice mystic pill was successful or not. At this moment, Lung Ruoxue, Freak, and the ghosts were staring at the pill furnace intently. They were so nervous that they didn't even dare to breathe. A moment later, the unique fragrance of the pill wafted in the stone room. This was the sign of the success of the pill. Smelling this refreshing fragrance, Lung Ruoxue was overjoyed. She really didn't expect to succeed on her first try at concocting a heaven-grade pill. Didn't this mean that she already had the strength of an alchemy supremacy? Schwer, quickly open the pill furnace and take a look. How many pills have you refined? Empty urged anxiously. His wish for many years had finally come true. Was this real? He simply couldn't believe it. Okay. Lung Ruoxue understood Empty's anxiety, so she didn't keep him in suspense. She directly opened the pill furnace and saw 10 crystal-clear pills lying quietly in the middle of the pill furnace. Empty counted the pills and said happily, 10 pills. Great. I didn't expect you to have such good results on your first heaven-grade pill concoction. This is for you. Take it to save your beast. Lung Ruoxue picked up an ice mystic pill, handed it to Empty, and then stored the other ice mystic pills in a jade bottle. This ice mystic pill was good stuff. It was definitely a holy medicine for ice and water attribute beasts, and Empty only needed one pill, so she stored the rest. Empty took the ice mystic pill excitedly, and walked to the side of the sleeping ice Qilin. He gently opened the Qilin's mouth and sent the ice mystic pill into his mouth. Then he waited anxiously by the bed. Lung Ruoxua leaned against Freak and closed her eyes to rest. After a long while, the sleeping ice Qilin finally showed signs of waking up. After waiting for about half an hour, the ice Qilin finally woke up. Master! The ice Qilin's big icy blue eyes were instantly excited when he saw Empty. He immediately transformed and jumped into Empty's arms, but he didn't expect to go through him. Master! The ice Qilin's blue eyes looked at his master with tears. Boo! How did this happen? Icy, it's good that you're awake. Don't be sad. I'm fine. Empty caressed the ice Qilin's head and coaxed him. Master, your injuries aren't healed, Icy said with certainty. As his master's beast, he knew very well how serious his master's injuries were, but Icy, am fine. Empty smiled and comforted him. He really didn't expect Icy to not only wake up but also recover his peak strength. This was great. He was sincerely happy for Icy. Master, my injuries are all healed. I will protect you. The ice Qilin raised his head, his blue eyes full of determination. Chapter 369. Please take care, I won't be seeing you out for. Empty nodded with relief and said to Icy. Okay, Icy. It's all thanks to Schwer that you could wake up. You have to thank her properly. Schwer? Two big question marks appeared in Icy's ice blue eyes. After he woke up, his eyes were full of his master, and he didn't see anyone else at all. It's this girl. He pointed helplessly at Lung Ruoxua, who was sleeping in Freak's arms. Did this girl fall asleep again? Icy jumped to Lung Ruoxua's side and said very politely, Oh, thank you for saving me. You're welcome. Lung Ruoxua slowly opened her eyes and looked at the transformed ice Qilin. Icy looked at Lung Ruoxua, then turned to look at Freak and said with slight surprise, You two look very unique. Yes. Lung Ruoxua's forehead was full of black lines. She absolutely didn't expect to be praised by a Qilin who transformed into a puppy one day. Look very unique. Well, I guess this can be considered a compliment. At this moment, the sneers of the beast sounded in Lung Ruoxua's sound. She found it even more unbearable. Schwer, let's leave this place. Empty said while suppressing his laughter. Okay, Lung Ruoxua quickly replied and stood up. Icy, right? Your master is there. Lung Ruoxua couldn't help reminding the ice Qilin, who had jumped onto her shoulder, and pointed at Empty. I know, but master can't carry me now, Icy said sadly. Lung Ruoxua was speechless. What kind of logic does this ice Qilin have? Can't he walk by himself if his master can't carry him? Must he rely on others? Do you dislike me? I'm a level 9 transcendent divine beast. If you weren't my savior, I wouldn't be willing to stay on your shoulder. Icy said very cockily. Lung Ruoxua glanced at Empty powerlessly. She really didn't know if she had saved a beast or an ancestor. Moreover, from what this ice Qilin implied, she had to thank him for being willing to stay on her shoulder. Schwer, thank you for your hard work. The corners of Empty's mouth twitched slightly. Alas, even after Icy had slept for so long, his preferences hadn't changed at all. I want compensation, Lung Ruoxua said fiercely. She had already decided that she wanted to make a killing off of Empty. No problem, Empty said readily. The 3 humans and 1 beast walked out of the cave. As they came out, they enveloped their mystic power around Lung Ruoxua and Freak and flew out of the mountain stream. Empty, you liar. You said you would be our guide, but you wanted us to accompany you to see your beast. Lung Ruoxua complained after exiting the mountain stream. Oh right, she had also saved his beast by the way. It was too early just now. There's nothing interesting in Carefree City. The time now is just right, Empty said cunningly. Then bring us there quickly. Lung Ruoxua urged. Master, where are we going? Icy, who was lying on Lung Ruoxua's shoulder, asked in confusion. He had been sleeping for too long, and many things were different from what he remembered. To explore Carefree City, Empty said lightly. Oh, okay. Icy yawned. You just woke up. Do you want to sleep again? Lung Ruoxua looked at the sleepy blue puppy on her shoulder speechlessly. Almost the entire life of Qilins is spent in sleep, Icy said matter-of-factly. Oh, go to sleep then. Lung Ruoxua stopped talking. It seemed that Qilins were the beasts that loved to sleep the most. No wonder they were so fat. While they walked, Empty suddenly pointed at a very imposing building. Schwer, that Carefree Pavilion is the best restaurant in Carefree City. Let's go in and eat something. Eat? Okay. Icy hurriedly opened his tightly shut blue eyes when he heard that there was something to eat. His face was full of anticipation. Go in. Lung Ruoxua shook her head. There was really nothing she could do about this master and beast. Guests, this must be your first time here. Please come in. The waiter welcomed them warmly as soon as they entered the Carefree Pavilion. But he could only see Lung Ruoxua and Freak, and he automatically ignored the blue puppy. Is there a private room? Lung Ruoxua asked when she saw the waiter leading them to the dining area. There was no way to eat in the dining area. I'm sorry, but it's almost dinner time, so the private rooms are all full. I'm afraid you'll have to make do with this, the waiter said very respectfully while pointing at a table. Anyone who came to the Carefree Pavilion for a meal wouldn't be of low status, so the waiting absolutely didn't dare to slight them. All right then. Serve us more of everything delicious, Lung Ruoxua ordered and sat down directly on a chair. Freak and Empty sat on each side of her, and Icy jumped directly onto the table. Okay, please wait for a moment. Not long after the waiter left, plates of delicious dishes were served on the table one after another. After the dishes were served, the 3 humans and 1 beast began to feast. The dishes of the Carefree Pavilion are still very delicious, but they have deteriorated, Empty said emotionally and put a piece of meat in his mouth. Then eat more, Lung Ruoxua said. She wasn't very interested in the dishes of the Carefree Pavilion, but she also ate a few mouthfuls after seeing this person and his beast eating so happily. Manager, how can such a high-class restaurant allow pet beasts to eat on the table? A sharp voice entered Lung Ruoxua's and Freak's ears. Icy, who was stuffing himself on the table, didn't even look up when he heard this voice. He continued to eat the food attentively. As for Lung Ruoxua and Freak, they knew who the owner of the voice was without even looking, so they naturally couldn't be bothered. Miss Sun, the private room you booked is upstairs, the manager said with a troubled expression. What he implied was that what somebody didn't see couldn't hurt them. Chapter 370. Please take care, I won't be seeing you out. 5. After all, the people who came here were either mystics or alchemists. Every one of them couldn't be provoked easily. Otherwise, who knew what kind of opportunities the person you offended today would have tomorrow? It wasn't like there were no examples of new leases on life on the boundless heaven continent. Therefore, the manager wasn't stupid. Moreover, he wasn't a servant of the Sun family. No matter how strong the Sun family was, their tentacles wouldn't be able to reach Carefree City. So the little princess of the Sun family was really nothing in his eyes. Manager, I won't eat here anymore if you don't chase these 2 unruly people out today, Sun Malin threatened. Then Miss Sun, please take care. I won't be seeing you out, the manager said without being servile nor overbearing. If this little princess of the Sun family didn't threaten him, he would probably be more polite to her. There was no need for that now. Sun Malin was dumbfounded. Does this damn manager know my identity? How dare he treat me like this? How hateful. Haha. Lung Ruoxua couldn't help laughing when she saw this scene. This manager was a little interesting. Ugly monster, how dare you laugh? Sun Malin roared furiously, and her sharp voice immediately attracted the gazes of the dining guests. Miss Sun, I remember telling you that as the second most beautiful woman on the boundless heaven continent, you have to take note of your image at all times. How sad would those stupid men who don't have eyes and admire you be if they saw you shouting like a shrew? You are the goddess in their hearts, Lung Ruoxua said mockingly with a light smile. Hearing this, Freak, Empty, and Icy laughed hysterically. The dining guests didn't dare to laugh so brazenly because of Sun Malin's identity. but the unconcealable smiles on their lips revealed their current happy mood. The manager also turned his back to Sun Meilin, but his shoulders were trembling nonstop. It was obvious that he had been enduring very hard. "Liner, what's the matter? Why haven't you come in yet?" Zhou Kuan asked in puzzlement while walking down from upstairs. "Cousin, these two ugly monsters and that annoying dog actually humiliated me," Sun Meilin complained after finding a backer. "What are they laughing about?" Zhou Kuan asked lightly while looking at Lung Ruoxue. "Alas, it's really unlucky to meet this ugly monster during a meal." Lung Ruoxue's admiring gaze was still in his heart, lingering for a long time. He felt nauseous just thinking about being looked at by an ugly woman with that disgusting gaze. "This woman humiliated me and called me a shrew," Sun Meilin said angrily while glaring fiercely at Icy, who was rolling on the table exaggeratedly and laughing hysterically. How could Liner be a shrew?" Zhou Kuan coaxed. But he actually thought so too. Moreover, no one knew the true colors of this stunning beauty better than him. "Cousin, tell the manager that I won't eat here anymore if he doesn't chase them out." Sun Meilin pointed the spearhead at the manager and continued to complain. "Liner, let's not make things difficult for the manager. It's not easy for him either," Zhou Kuan pleaded. In fact, he knew very well that he couldn't order these restaurant managers and storekeepers in Carefree City, because they wouldn't care about his identity at all. "Thank you for your understanding, President Zhou," the manager said very generously. Then he shook his sleeves and left this troublesome place without even looking at Sun Meilin. "Cousin, how can you plead for him? He doesn't respect you at all," Sun Meilin complained, very displeased with the manager's attitude. "Liner, Carefree City isn't like other cities. We better keep a low profile here," Zhou Kuan advised. That fellow didn't even give any face to his master, let alone him. What could he do? But he wouldn't say this to Sun Meilin. "Liner, let's go upstairs to eat," Zhou Kuan continued. "No, I'm already full of anger," Sun Meilin said irritably. Then she walked in front of Lung Ruoxue and the others and said arrogantly, "Ugly monster, I'm looking forward to meeting you in the competition." If she wanted to get rid of Lung Ruoxue, she could only do so in the competition because private fights were not allowed in Carefree City. With that, Sun Meilin left the Carefree Pavilion angrily. "Liner!" Zhou Kuan hurriedly chased after her. "Schwer, I see you're going to be in trouble." Empty gloated after Sun Meilin left. "Empty, you seem very happy," Lung Ruoxue asked mischievously. "Little snowy one, my master is just like this," Icy said nonchalantly. Alas! It had been so many years, but his master's nature of wanting to see the world burn hadn't changed at all. "Yes, I can see that." Lung Ruoxue nodded cautiously. The apple didn't fall far from the tree. Both master and beast were not much different. "Little Snowy, you have to protect me," Icy said pitifully, his big ice-blue eyes glittering with tears. "Do you even need my protection?" Lung Ruoxue glanced at Icy speechlessly. A level 9 transcendent divine beast actually sought protection from a mere elementary mystic like her. What was this? "Of course. Fighting isn't my specialty," Icy boasted shamelessly without blushing nor skipping a beat. "I can tell. You master and beast are best at causing trouble," Lung Ruoxue said bluntly. "Little Snowy, you really know us well," Icy said proudly. "Yeah. Freak, let's go back." Lung Ruoxue turned to look at Freak helplessly. "Okay, let's go back. Grandpa and the others are probably anxious from waiting," Freak said with a light smile. After settling the bill, the three of them and the beast walked out of the Carefree Pavilion and returned to the Mystic Association headquarters. At the residence of Lung Ruoxue and the others. "Why isn't that little girl back yet?" Lan Ming paced around like an ant on a hot pan in the living room. Chapter 371. You are the dog, the watchdog one. President Lan. "Stop spinning around, okay? I'm dizzy," Old Zao said impatiently. "That girl has been out for several hours, but she hasn't returned yet," Lan Ming said anxiously. "Schwer is already so old and won't get lost," Lung Qingtian said nonchalantly. "You don't know the power of my granddaughter. Otherwise, you would be scared to death." "I'm not afraid of her getting lost," Lan Ming said angrily. "President Lan, calm down. Schwer will be back soon." Lin Liang persuaded. Alas, wasn't it just the competition being brought forward? What was the big deal? We're back. Lung Ruoxia's voice sounded in their ears as soon as Lin Liang finished speaking. Lan Ming deliberately put on a stern face and said with some displeasure, "Lass, you're finally willing to come back." What? Did something happen? Lung Ruoxia asked doubtfully while looking at Lan Ming's expression. Yes, the competition originally scheduled 3 days later has been brought forward to tomorrow, Lan Ming explained with a frown. That's it. Lung Ruoxia said calmly. Alas, I thought something big happened. Seems like Sun Meilin is quite fast. Why aren't you surprised at all? Lan Ming looked at the calm Lung Ruoxia, very puzzled. What's so surprising about that? Lung Ruoxia asked instead of answering. That's right. You get worked up too easily. The quality of the mystics of the Mystic Association now is really too poor. Uncle Icy said, his fluffy little face full of dissatisfaction. Where did this puppy come from? 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Lan Ming's forehead. He was depressed. A puppy actually said that he got worked up too easily. You are the dog. What's with your gaze? Is there a dog as mighty and majestic as me? Icy slightly raised his eyelids in displeasure. Lan Ming was speechless. How dare this palm-sized little beast say that he's mighty and majestic? Then what are other beasts? Little Snowy, the quality of the Mystic Association needs to be improved, Icy said earnestly. The vice president of headquarters wasn't even a mystic supremacy. This was too disappointing. Thousands of years ago, even ordinary elders of the Mystic Association headquarters were at the mystic supremacy level. Yes, that's mainly because the headquarters president is too irresponsible, Lung Ruoxia said coldly. Where is he? I'll bite him. Icy roared furiously. Calm down. How can you bite people as you please? Lung Ruoxia's forehead was full of black lines. This was the first time she heard that a transcendent divine beast used biting in battle. You want to bite my master? With your teeth? Lan Ming looked at Icy with a skeptical expression. What? Do you want to try? Icy said in an unfriendly tone. Umph. He hated it when others questioned his words. Icy, give me some face. Don't bite him yet. Wait until after the competition. Lung Ruoxia pleaded very kindly. Okay, I'll definitely give little Snowy face, Icy said understandingly. I say, can you not treat me as if I don't exist? Lan Ming growled. Boo-hoo, first this puppy wanted to bite his master. And then he wanted to bite him. What did this puppy treat them as? No, you better be obedient. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless, Icy said very unpleasantly. The current situation of the Mystic Association headquarters greatly displeased him. Umph. Everyone who doesn't manage the headquarters well is damn useless. Boo. I was actually threatened by a puppy. Lan Ming was really on the brink of tears. And it was the little girl who brought the puppy back. If it was someone else's, he would have dealt with him ruthlessly long ago. Icy, they are my family. Lung Ruoxia held back her smile and introduced Icy to her grandfather and the others. Oh, little Snowy, you have a big family. What are their names? Icy asked curiously with his big ice blue eyes open. According to Icy's request, Lung Ruoxia introduced her grandfather and the others. Little Tian Tian, little Liang Liang, little Old, little Zao Zao, little Jean Jean, little NN, hello. Don't be afraid of me. You are little Snowy's family. I won't bite you. Icy couldn't help comforting them after calling their names and seeing their slightly surprised expressions. Immediately, the room fell silent. Except for Lung Ruoxia and Freak. Everyone was stunned. Little Snowy, are they scared by me? I really won't bite anyone, Icy said gloomily. Didn't he already explain it to them just now? Icy, right? Can you not call me little Old? Old Man was the first to speak after coming back to his senses. Why? Aren't you called Old Man? There were question marks in Icy's blue eyes. I didn't call him wrongly, right? My name isn't Old Man. Old Man couldn't help protesting. In fact, he had a name too, but no one had called him it for many years. Little Snowy? Icy looked at Lung Ruoxia doubtfully. We all call him Old Man, Lung Ruoxia explained. Oh, then you are little Old. Icy would never change his mind once he set his mind on something. Haha. Little old. That's a good name. Old Zao couldn't help laughing hysterically. Yes. Much better than your little Zao. Old man said coldly without even looking up. Lung Qingtian and the others present suppressed their laughter with their faces flushed red. At the same time, they were secretly glad. Phew. Fortunately, they were usually called by their names. I see he is Lan Ming. Lung Ruoxue continued to introduce. At the same time, she was very curious about the sort of name Icy would give to the Feng family's first elder. Where did the first elder go? Oh, little Lan. Icy said in realization. Little Lan. What a relief. It's better than little old and little Zao. Lan Ming sighed in relief. Grandpa, where's the first elder? Lung Ruoxue turned to her grandfather. Chapter 372. You are the dog, the watchdog too. He's cultivating his mystic skills in his room. Lung Qingtian explained. Oh right, little Lan. What's the procedure for tomorrow's competition? Lung Ruoxue called out mischievously like Icy. Tomorrow is the preliminary round. The winner will advance, and the loser will have another chance in an additional round, Lan Ming explained. Is there only one round? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. There are at least 100 branches on the boundless heaven continent, right? How many years would it take to compete if they hold one round a day? Yes, there's only one round tomorrow, Lan Ming said. Mystic competitions were very intense, and there would often be casualties. Therefore, only one round could be arranged a day to give everyone enough time to rest. How many people will be participating? Lung Ruoxue asked. The exact number of people won't be known until tomorrow. However, there are 120 Mystic Association branches on the boundless heaven continent. Each branch is usually only allowed 10 people to participate in the competition. But some large branches can send 15 people to participate. The branches with too few people are also allowed to forfeit. The minimum number of participants from each branch is 5 people, so the number of people can't be estimated now. However, it shouldn't exceed 1,500 people, Lan Ming said. How long will this competition take? Lung Ruoxue continued asking. Many people will be eliminated in this week of the competition, so moving forward the competition will be relatively easier. The competition at the later stage is the true highlight. Moreover, it will become more intense as time passes. In addition, I also want to remind you that casualties are allowed in the Mystic Association's competition. Moreover, there are often people who play dirty in the competition, so you have to be careful. Lan Ming reminded worriedly. How can they allow underhand means in an official competition? Lung Ruoxue really couldn't understand. No one will care the slightest about losses in order to select better mystics. Moreover, in a world where the strong are respected, you can only be eliminated by the rules if you can't adapt to the rules. This is also the main reason why mystics have such noble identities and statuses. Moreover, mystics selected through the competition can be said to be dragons among men. And their future is limitless, Lan Ming explained. In other words, we can settle our personal grudges openly in the competition. Lung Ruoxue said in realization. No wonder Sun Meilin said. I hope to meet you in the competition. It seemed that Sun Meilin had decided to get rid of her. The purpose of the competition is to win by whatever means necessary. If there is a personal grudge between two opponents, it can be resolved on the battlefield. Moreover, the headquarters won't ask about it. Lan Ming might not know why Lung Ruoxue asked about this, but he still answered honestly. Little Lan, Zhou Kun's branch has 15 people participating, right? Lung Ruoxue asked with certainty. There are 20 from Zhou Kun's branch, but only 15 should participate. Lan Ming nodded slightly. Alas! What he was most afraid of was that Lung Ruoxue and the others would meet Zhou Kun's people because those people really worried him. Little Snowy, don't be afraid. I will accompany you in battle. Icy had an expression that said, Feel relieved with me here. We can bring pet beasts? Lung Ruoxue was surprised. Yes. Lan Ming nodded. Alas! They were already allowed to take revenge for personal grudges, so what if they brought a pet beast? That's good. Lung Ruoxue said with satisfaction. What she lacked the most now was money, But what she lacked the least were beasts. Moreover, there was a level 9 transcendent divine beast willing to fight with her. This was an existence equivalent to a mystic supremacy. I have no more questions. Let's rest early today. Lung Ruoxua planned to go to bed. Wait, little Snowy, we still have to discuss our strategy. Lan Ming also followed Icy's way of calling her. Tomorrow is only the first match. What's there to discuss? Sleep is the most important. Little Lan Lan, calm down. Don't be too nervous, Lung Ruoxua comforted. Then she pulled Freak back to her room to sleep. Lass is right. Little Lan Lan, calm down. Old Zao said with a smile, and then quickly ran away. We're going to bed too. Little Lan Lan, rest early, Lung Qingtian and the others said almost in unison. Seeing everyone leave in the blink of an eye, Lan Ming was depressed and summoned Jin Hui. Jin Hui, do you think the observers are more anxious than the people involved? The people participating in the competition seem to feel that it's nothing, but I'm very worried, Lan Ming complained to his beast. Jin Hui glanced at his master and thought, Master, you know it too. But he still had to console him. Master, those people are smart. Don't worry too much. Alas, that's true. Forget it. I won't think about it anymore. Let's go to bed. Lan Ming stood up. The next morning, Lung Ruoxua was still not fully awake when she vaguely heard the sound of an argument. She opened her eyes very reluctantly and looked at the culprits. Why are you arguing so early in the morning? Lung Ruoxua said with displeasure. She was angry about being woken up. It's not me who's making a fuss. It's Master. Icy declared his innocence and betrayed his master without any sense of loyalty. Icy, you were the one who insisted on eating, but you actually blamed me. How can I have a beast like you who makes his master take the blame? Empty looked at Lung Ruoxua with a very innocent face. You're both the same. Lung Ruoxua exposed them bluntly. They just wanted to eat. There was no need to wake her up, right? Schwer. Little Snowy. Both the master and the beast blinked their beautiful blue eyes and looked at her adorably. Didn't I leave you a lot of food before I went to bed yesterday? Lung Ruoxua said with a slight headache. It's all eaten, the master and the beast said in unison. Little Snowy, Master and I caught many snakes. Cooked them for us to eat. Icy's face was full of anticipation, his blue eyes shining. Ah! The snake meat Little Snowy gave them yesterday was really too delicious. He had lived for thousands of years, but he had never known that snakes were actually so delicious. At the thought, his saliva couldn't help flowing down. Chapter 373. You are the dog, the watchdog 3. You went out? Lung Ruoxua asked doubtfully. Okay, we went to catch snakes. Icy said ingratiatingly while rubbing Lung Ruoxua's tender arm. Where are the snakes? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. Here. Empty hurriedly handed her a pet ring. Lung Ruoxua took the ring and sent her divine sense in. These are the snakes you caught? Lung Ruoxua's forehead was full of black lines, and her heart was palpitating. Did these two fellows catch all the snakes on the boundless heaven continent? Moreover, the snakes they caught are actually still alive, and the weakest ones seem to be divine beasts. Yes. Didn't you say that the stronger the snake, the more delicious the meat? So we didn't catch any below divine beast. Empty hurriedly said as if he was presenting a treasure. Little Snowy, don't be scared. These stinky snakes won't dare to bite you. They're all very obedient. In fact, I initially wanted to kill all of them, but Master said that live ones are fresher. Icy added, his fluffy little face full of pride. Freak opened his eyes and asked in puzzlement. What's fresher? See for yourself. Lung Ruoxua was really speechless. Alas! These two gluttons. Freak took the ring from Schwer and said with his mouth agape. Why are there so many snakes? Where did they come from? Little Chun Chun, Master and I went to catch them. How is it? It's enough to eat now, right? Icy said happily. Yes, it's enough. Freak's incomparably handsome face was full of helplessness. This was no longer a matter of whether it was enough or not. There were so many that eating them would make anyone vomit. Icy smiled proudly. Freak, let's pack up and go out. Lung Ruoxua said to Freak. Her grandfather and the others should be up already. Okay. Freak nodded. The two of them washed up and left the room, and Icy naturally followed closely behind. Empty, I'll find a time to introduce you to my family, Lung Ruoxue said while looking at Empty, who was following them. If Empty really wanted to follow them, he couldn't stay invisible forever, right? Yes, but I don't want the people from the headquarters to know of my existence. Empty nodded. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Lung Qingtian and the others had already prepared breakfast in the courtyard. Swear, good timing. Come have breakfast. Lung Qingtian hurriedly greeted his precious granddaughter. Grandpa, where's Lan Ming? Lung Ruoxue and Freak found a seat and sat down. But she couldn't help asking curiously when she didn't see Lan Ming. He went to the competition venue early in the morning to draw lots, Lung Qingtian explained. Oh, Grandpa, I'll introduce you to someone, Lung Ruoxue said. Lan Ming wasn't here, so it was a good opportunity. Alas, Empty didn't want the people of the headquarters to know about him. Who is it? Swear, why are you so mysterious? Lung Qingshan's curiosity was piqued. Empty. Lung Ruoxue looked at Empty. Empty understood immediately, and he directly appeared in front of Lung Qingtian and the others. Swear, he. Lung Qingtian and the others looked at the young man who appeared out of thin air in front of them, and their jaws almost fell to the ground. Grandpa, he's the owner of this house. But the people of the Mystic Association headquarters don't know of his existence. Moreover, he doesn't want them to know, so you have to keep this secret, Lung Ruoxue explained. Oh, okay, Lung Qingtian quickly replied after reacting. But he couldn't help secretly sizing up the man named Empty. He couldn't tell this man's cultivation level at all. Moreover, the man in front of him gave him an indescribable and strange feeling. Empty is the master of the icy, Lung Ruoxue added. Oh, everyone was enlightened. No wonder that blue puppy followed Lung Ruoxue. Empty will be following us from now on. Lung Ruoxue continued to throw a bomb. Everyone was shocked again and looked at Lung Ruoxue in unison, until they were sure that she was serious. Oh, Lung Qingtian answered on behalf of everyone. He didn't know Empty's identity, but he believed in his granddaughter's judgment. Little Snowy, can we eat now? I'm so hungry. Icy, who had been waiting for too long, said pitifully. Let's eat. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Alas, there are really more and more gluttons around me. Empty, aren't you eating? Lung Qingtian couldn't help asking curiously when he saw that everyone had already started eating, but Empty hadn't moved his chopsticks at all. I'm not hungry. You go ahead. Empty said lightly, his handsome face maintaining a smile. He had seen everyone's reactions just now and was very satisfied with their reactions. These people didn't know his identity at all, but they were still willing to accept him. This should be Schwer's credit. Instead of saying they believed that he wasn't a bad person, it was better to say that they believed in Schwer's judgment more. Grandpa, he's a carnivore, Lung Ruoxue teased. Oh, we usually eat light for breakfast. We only cook meat for lunch and dinner, Lung Qingtian explained. It's okay. Empty smiled. Empty, do as you please. Don't stand on ceremony with us. We don't have so many rules, Old Zao said. I know. Empty smiled. He wouldn't have appeared at all if he didn't know these people's temperament very well. Empty, do you know much about the competition of the Mystic Association headquarters? Lung Ruoxue turned her head and looked at Empty. Yes. Empty nodded. How could he not know? The previous competitions were very fair. That was the real competition to select talents. The competition has lost its meaning now, but the rewards for the competition are becoming more and more generous, Empty explained. Yes, I'm going for the rewards, so those people better have eyes and not provoke me. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that I won't be ruthless, Lung Ruoxue said domineeringly. Chapter 374. You are the dog, the watchdog for. Little Snowy, don't worry. I will help you. With me around, those rewards will definitely be yours, Icy said very loyally. Little Icy, you're really interesting, Old Zao said happily. Little Icy. Icy was startled. It had been a long time since he became an adult, and anyone called him Little Icy. Boo. It feels so familiar. What? Don't you like it? Old Zao asked aggrievedly. Boo. He didn't even dislike the nickname Little Zao Zao. No, I approve of you calling me Little Icy, Icy said very happily. Okay. Old Zao nodded repeatedly. Grandpa, Lan Ming isn't here. How are we going to the competition venue later? Lung Ruoxua asked doubtfully. She didn't know the location of the venue. Lan Ming told me before he left. We can go directly, Lung Qingtian said. Lung Ruoxua nodded and continued eating. After eating and tidying up, Lung Ruoxua and the others set off. After taking several turns, they finally found the competition venue half an hour later. Although the competition venue wasn't very far from the Mystic Association headquarters, it wasn't easy to find for people going there for the first time. I didn't expect this place to become the competition venue. Empty looked at the enormous venue in front of him and sighed emotionally. This place used to be just a barren land. Let's go in. Lung Ruoxua looked at everyone. Lung Qingtian and the others nodded and were about to enter when they were stopped at the entrance. I'm sorry. Please show your identification. The guard at the entrance said coldly. Does everyone have to show their identification? Lung Ruoxua asked in an unfriendly tone. Of course, the guard replied. Then why didn't you ask the people who entered before us to show their identification? Lung Ruoxua questioned with some displeasure. They are mystics from Sunzhou City. I know them. Of course there's no need. The guard said matter-of-factly. What he implied was that he didn't know them. Oh, is this all right? Lung Ruoxua took out her mystic identification and shook it in front of the guard. You can enter now, the guard said. Freak and the others also took out their identification. You can go in now. But you better watch your dog. Don't let it bite anyone. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. The guard warned as he looked at Icy, who was lying on Lung Ruoxia's shoulder. Fuck, you are the dog, the watchdog. Icy cursed furiously. Ah, little Icy, you're so right. Isn't he just a watchdog? Old Zao laughed exaggeratedly. Hee hee, it was so enjoyable when little Icy scolded people. Although Lung Qingtian and the others weren't smiling as exaggeratedly as old Zao, they were also smiling happily. But little Icy, we should only say this in our hearts. Alas, we have to leave some face for the association. Old Zao changed the topic and advised earnestly. Yes, you're right. Icy nodded seriously in agreement. You. The guard was so angry that he couldn't say anything and his face and neck were red. Let's go. Lung Ruoxua glanced at the guard indifferently. There was really no need to be angry with such a small fry. Okay. Everyone walked in. Although there were only a few people outside the competition venue, the venue was already crowded and bustling. Schwer, looks like we're late. Lung Qingtian looked at the densely packed heads in front of him and felt a little headache. He didn't like crowded places at all now. Grandpa, the best has to be the finale, of course. Lung Ruoxua said mischievously. Hee hee, little Snowy is right. We can't lower our status, Icy praised. You're here. Lan Ming appeared in front of everyone. Little Lan Lan, you don't look too good. Lung Ruoxua looked at Lan Ming and teased. I'm sorry. I was too unlucky and couldn't draw you good opponents, Lan Ming said guiltily. Lung Ruoxia's and the others' opponents were very strong. Oh. Lung Ruoxua and the others answered lightly, and there was no reaction after this. Can your reactions not be so calm? Why didn't anyone ask me who your opponents are? Lan Ming said gloomily. These people's reactions were really too strange, making him unable to say what he wanted to say. What's there to ask? We'll know later. Lung Ruoxua suppressed her smile. Lass, don't you know what it means to know your enemy? Your opponent is one of the strongest in the group, Lan Ming said worriedly. It's better for them to be stronger. There will be a greater sense of accomplishment to beat them. I don't like opponents who are too weak, Lung Ruoxua said calmly. Little Lan Lan, I can settle everyone here with a single claw. What's there to worry about? Icy said disdainfully. Alas, it seemed that the Mystic Association was really at the end of its rope. He scanned the area with his divine sense just now but didn't find anyone worthy of being his opponent. Did you hear that? Little Lan Lan, I have little Icy here. Everything will be okay. Lung Ruoxua comforted. There was naturally no need to expose her beasts since Icy was willing to fight with her. Lass, he's just a puppy. How can you place your hopes on him? The words disapproval were written on Lan Ming's handsome face. Little Lan, I'll bite you if you call me a puppy again. Icy warned. Lan Ming didn't want to be bitten by a dog and hurriedly apologized. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Lass, you really can't be too careless. Your opponent is Su Nan, one of the top 10 geniuses of the boundless heaven continent. He is very strong. Moreover, he has been an elementary mystic for a longer time than you, and there are even rumors that he will advance to great mystic soon. Lan Ming reminded, his eyes faintly worried. Although Lung Ruoxia's talent was the best he had ever seen, she had been a mystic for too short a time. In this aspect, Su Nan was completely incomparable to her. Chapter 375. You are the dog, the watchdog. 5. Oh, Lung Ruoxia answered lightly. Lass, are you trying to make me die of anxiety? Lan Ming said angrily. Lung Ruoxia's reaction really made him very helpless. Then what do you want me to do? Don't I already know? Lung Ruoxia asked helplessly. Alas, men tend to become naggy when they grow older. Be careful too. If you really can't win, just admit defeat. No one will dare to play dirty if you admit defeat. Lan Ming didn't want to bother with Lung Ruoxia, who was giving him a headache. He directly turned his gaze to Lung Qingtian and the others and continued to remind them. President Lan, how can you not have confidence in us? Lung Qingtian said with some dissatisfaction. Lan Ming's words were for their own good, but as a former general, he really didn't like to hear demoralizing words. That's right. Although we're weak, the people participating in the competition are only one stage higher than us at best. It's not like we are going to fight against mystic supremacies. What's there to be afraid of? Feng Jin, who rarely spoke, said. Perhaps they weren't strong, but all of them were veterans who had been on the battlefield for a long time. They would definitely not lose to anyone here in terms of combat experience, so he was very confident in winning the first match. I'm sorry. I was too worried. All the best. The reward is already waving at you, Lan Ming said with a guilty expression. Alas. The older, the wiser. It seemed that Jin Hui was right. He didn't have to worry about these smart people at all. Haha, that's more like it. Old Zhao said with a smile. Okay. Come with me. Lan Ming nodded and led everyone to their seats. The seating arrangements were good, and they happened to be in the middle of the competition venue. The field of vision was very wide, and they could see very clearly. This was the only thought in everyone's minds at this moment. Lung Ruoxia and the others sat down and waited patiently for the competition to begin officially. What a coincidence. Our seats are actually next to each other. Sun Meilin's voice entered Lung Ruoxia's and the others' ears. Unfortunately, her words didn't receive any response. Icy, who was lying on Lung Ruoxia's shoulder, raised his eyelids slightly and asked with some displeasure. Little Snowy, what's this smell? It stinks. I don't know. The air here is bad. Bear with it. Lung Ruoxia held in her laughter and comforted him. Alas. Now she knew why their seats were so good. It turned out that someone deliberately did it. I can't take it anymore, Icy said impatiently. While speaking, he actually sneezed and coincidentally, the sneeze landed on Sun Meilin. Suddenly Sun Meilin, who had yet to react, directly crossed the railing separating the audience seats and arenas, and was sprayed onto the inner area of the competition venue. Moreover, she landed in a position with her legs upright. And coincidentally, she was wearing a skirt for the sake of beauty, and exposed everything to the audience clearly. Everyone who saw this scene was stunned at first. Then laughter and discussions resounded throughout the entire venue. Haha, what a funny fall. Old Zhao laughed hysterically with tears in his eyes. This little princess of the Sun family doesn't have a very good figure. Look at the flesh on her waist. It's almost as thick as my waist. Her legs are quite thick, and her chest isn't big enough. It seems like this second beauty only has a passable face. I didn't come for nothing today. At this moment, Zhou Kuan glared at Lung Ruoxia and the others and roared at the audience. Be careful of your heads if you continue spouting nonsense. Unfortunately, there were too many people in the audience, and their discussions were loud, so no one heard Zhou Kun's words. President Zhou, you should quickly send people down to save your cousin. If she doesn't get up soon, she might not be able to participate in the competition. Alas, the ground is so cold. Lan Ming reminded kindly, but his face was full of a gloating smile. Good job, little Icy. He cheered for little Icy in his heart. Just you wait. The Sun family won't let you go. Zhou Kun threatened Lung Ruoxue and the others. With that, he brought his subordinates into the inner area to save Sun Meilin. Alas, we're being threatened again. Lung Ruoxue sighed softly and helplessly. Alas, the cute little Icy is also threatened. Icy mimicked Lung Ruoxue's tone, but his beautiful blue eyes were full of excitement. He loved being threatened. Are you two really scared? Lan Ming asked doubtfully. He didn't notice any feelings of fear from their tone at all. How can I not be afraid? The Sun family. That's the Sun family, one of the three great families, a colossus of the boundless heaven continent. And I'm just a small elementary mystic. Lung Ruoxue said very seriously. That's right. I'm just a little beast. I can't afford to offend the Sun family. Icy frowned with a very serious expression. Continue pretending. Lan Ming was speechless and grumbled in his head. He had never seen a little beast that could send someone flying with a sneeze. Sun Meilin was an elementary mystic. She wasn't made of paper. Boo. Little Snowy, you have to protect me. Icy's blue eyes welled up with tears as he sobbed. Lung Ruoxue didn't say anything, but she kept shooting glances at Icy, wanting to remind him that his acting was too much. Just keep it to the point. Little Snowy, what happened to your eyes? Icy asked foolishly with tears in his eyes. My eyes are blurry. Lung Ruoxue gave a random reason. Alas, I really don't know if Icy is smart or stupid now. Oh, the wind is a little strong. You have to be careful. Icy reminded. Alas. Lan Ming turned his head weakly, no longer looking at Lung Ruoxue and Icy. He was too inexperienced compared to these two cunning foxes, and he admitted defeat. Welcome, mystics. The grand competition held by our Mystic Association headquarters every 5 years is about to begin officially today. This is the largest turnout of mystics participating in the competition throughout history. I hereby represent the Mystic Association headquarters to congratulate every mystic in advance on achieving good results. Chapter 376. You are the dog, the watchdog 6. In addition, I have another piece of good news to tell everyone in advance. First place in this year's competition will be accepted as President Wu's personal disciple, so everyone please work hard. At this moment, the host's voice sounded from the inner area of the competition venue, and this also indicated that the competition was about to begin. The moment the host finished speaking, the audience immediately erupted in applause. The representatives of the various branches participating in the competition were even more excited. Little Lan Lan, why didn't you tell me that first place will be accepted as a personal disciple by that fellow surnamed Wu? Lung Ruoxue said with some dissatisfaction. She wanted to win first place, but she didn't want to become someone's disciple. That fellow wasn't qualified to be her master. I just found out too. But usually first place in the competition will basically be accepted as a disciple by the president of headquarters. Lan Ming explained. Oh, looks like this person surnamed Wu intends to replace him. Little Lan Lan, if your master doesn't come out, this Wu guy will control the headquarters in the future. No, it will be controlled by the Sun guy, Lung Ruoxue said understandingly. This Wu guy's ambition was obvious, and he was closely related to the Sun family. Alas, my master. Lan Ming frowned helplessly. Of course, he also hoped that his master could leave seclusion early. But he couldn't go to the secret room to drag his master out if his master didn't come out himself. Moreover, he couldn't enter either. Your master better not come out of seclusion now, or I will definitely bite him. Icy said impatiently. Icy wouldn't let Lan Ming's master go after he managed the Mystic Association headquarters to this extent. Lan Ming didn't know what to say. Why does this puppy always want to bite master? How did master offend this puppy? Master, take care. There's a puppy waiting to bite you outside. While Lan Ming was letting his imagination run wild, the competition officially began. For today's matches, there were a total of 10 arenas, and matches would take place at the same time. The participating representatives would go on stage in accordance with the prearranged order. The winner would advance directly, and the loser would have to compete in another round. Old Zhao, you're the first to go on stage among us. All the best. Lan Ming reminded old Zhao as he looked at him. Yes, don't worry. It'll definitely start with a bang for everyone. Old Zhao promised with a smile. He might be the weakest among them, but he was an artificer. He had long prepared a secret weapon. Moreover, he had several dragons, so he wasn't afraid of any opponents at all. Lung Ruoxia's gaze had been watching every move on the field. The 10 groups currently fighting on the field were not very strong. But the one who made her take a second look was the man in his early 30s on Arena 9. The man was tall, had an ordinary appearance, and wore ordinary clothes. Although his strength was only at Mystic, the aura on his body was not at all inferior to the elementary mystic he was fighting. So Lung Ruoxia believed that this man would definitely be able to amaze the world and become a powerhouse above everyone with time. As for his opponent, even though he was an elementary mystic, he likely ranked at the bottom among elementary mystics. So Lung Ruoxia was more optimistic about the ordinary-looking man in their group. Little Lan Lan, who are those people on Arena 9? Lung Ruoxia asked curiously. Let me take a look. That man is from Thousand Willow City, and the other person is from Sunzhou City and Zhou Kun's group, Lan Ming said as he looked at the name list in his hands. Oh, Lung Ruoxia answered lightly and stopped talking. Little Snowy, which one do you think is better? Lan Ming asked curiously. He didn't believe that this girl was just asking casually. That linen-clothed man, Lung Ruoxia said calmly, ignoring the unfriendly gazes of Zhou Kun and the others not far away. Humph. Your vision is really not good. That man from Thousand Willow City is only a mystic. How can he beat an elementary mystic? This is too funny, someone from the Sunzhou City's Mystic Association said with a displeased face. Little Snowy, do you really think that man from Thousand Willow City will win? Lan Ming also said in disbelief. On the Boundless Heaven continent, wanting to defeat the strong as the weak was very difficult. Therefore, Lung Ruoxia ignored the Sunzhou City's mystic and said to Lan Ming with a chuckle, Little Lan Lan, want to bet? Okay. What do you want to bet on? Lan Ming said with interest. 10 million purple gold coins. Give me 10 million if I win. If I lose, you can pay me 10 million less. How about it? Lung Ruoxia said with the expression of the big bad wolf tempting Little Red Riding Hood. Lan Ming was a little speechless when he heard this bet. Why is this girl thinking of amassing wealth all the time? He had really never seen such a materialistic person in his 30-odd years of life. I'll bet with you. But if you want to bet, bet big. How about 100 million purple gold coins? The mystic from Sunzhou City just now jumped out impatiently with a provocative face before Lan Ming could answer. Okay, I have no objections. But are you sure you can take out 100 million? Lung Ruoxia asked with a light smile. How could she not want someone rushing to give her money? Of course I do. Do you know who I am? Why wouldn't I be able to fork out 100 million purple gold coins? The mystic roared furiously. Damn ugly monster. How dare she suspect that he couldn't produce the money? This was simply the greatest humiliation to him. His family was one of the wealthiest families apart from the 3 great families. He would definitely crush this ugly monster with money later. To be honest, I really don't know who you are. This young lady only recognizes money and not people. If you want to bet with me, take out 100 million purple gold coins first. Otherwise, go wherever you want to go. Lung Ruoxia said without negotiation. Okay, isn't it just 100 million? Here. It's simply a drop in the bucket for this young master, and not worth mentioning. The mystic took out a silver card that was usable across the entire continent, and handed it to Lung Ruoxia for her to check. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference. as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.